I will concur the sentiments on Andrew Grady as we look forward to driver introductions in just a few moments here for the Carolina 125 presented by Milam Equipment Rentals at New River All-American Speedway in Jacksonville, North Carolina. If you got the chance to see this race last year, you'll know that this was arguably Andrew Grady's best performance in the Cars Tour all year long. Led 55 laps, didn't finish the way he wanted to, ended up 18th at the end of it. But I talked to him earlier, and I sort of looked at him and I said, you know, I feel like you've been waiting for this race in particular all year long. And he looked right back at me and he said, you know what, you're not wrong about that at all, because he knows that he's got a good piece around here. And he's won a lot in NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series competition here at New River All-American Speedway in the past. So that one car, that machine, the Mike Dorn Racing car, ABC Hosiery and Apparel, and Gildan Textiles along Andrew Grady's machine, that's one you'll want to keep an eye on tonight, more so than most, because this is a track where he has a very, very strong package, more so than most of the other places we go to in the Solid Rock Carriers Car Store. But he's not the only one that you have to watch out for, and there are plenty of drivers who will likely play their part in figuring out who ends up in Edelbrock Victory Lane at the end of the night as you get a good look at the field here. Incidentally, this is also the only hex oval that we visit on the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. This place is a little bit of a different shape. We've talked about how it's different and unique compared to a lot of the other tracks in the calendar. That's part of it. Most tracks we go to are standard ovals for the most part. You have a front stretch and a back stretch, but you don't necessarily have a front stretch that bows out the way this does. So you can see with the grass there on the front stretch that you do have two sort of equal runs through dog legs. And if you think of the shape of a Charlotte Motor Speedway or an Atlanta Motor Speedway or a Texas Motor Speedway, we're essentially working with a miniature version of that. However, I talked to a lot of the drivers in the garage earlier today, and they told me that because there's so much room here on this racetrack, and it is relatively wide, you've got about 3 lanes that you can work with realistically if you're really pushing, but that the entry to 1 and 2 is very different than the entry to 3 and 4, because entering turns 1 and 2, like you would here just off the end of the shot that you see on your screen, sort of coming down towards the bottom of your picture, you get to arc the car in and you're already sort of turning into the corner a little bit more. Whereas entering turn 3 on the back straightaway, you're coming right up at the end of a standard straightaway like we'd see on regular ovals, and the entry to turn 3 is much tighter than what you see in 1 and 2. And a lot of the drivers that I talked to said that it made this track a little bit difficult to set up, because both ends of the racetrack are very, very different to each other, and you can't necessarily set up for one end the same way you would for the other, because the nature of the corners is so different. So something that you want to watch out for as these drivers tackle this place. And then banking too. We're working with about 14, 15 degrees of banking here. It's a little bit more than the 12 that you will see at Martinsville in 2 weeks, and plenty of speed that you can carry through the corner as well. Let's go down for driver introductions with Jacqueline Drake.
Down here trackside for driver introductions, and today the driver introductions are going to be conducted by our K1 Race Gear, a partner of the Cars Solid Rock Carriers Tour, Mr. Devin Rouse.
Let's meet tonight's starting lineup for the Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals. Starting 20th from Swansboro, North Carolina, in the Chris Burns Racing Rooms Unlimited Owens Transport Racing Realty, Christopher Burns. Starting 19th from Mechanicsville, Virginia, in the R&S Race Cars Hogan Group WG Speaks, Ford Mustang number 15C, Logan Clark. Starting 18th from Manassas, Virginia, in the Timmy Tyrell Racing Convenience Tire and Auto, Mini T's Tire and Auto, Chevrolet Camaro number 81, Mini Tyrell. Starting 17th from Claremont, North Carolina, in the Nelson Motorsports High Rock Vodka Autos by Nelson, number 22, Landon Hoffman. Starting 16th from Sharon, South Carolina, in the Bolin Family Racing, Salty Dog Cafe, Jones Utilities, CCS of York County, Chevrolet Camaro, number 67, Cameron Bolin. Starting 15th from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, in the Two Boroughs Performance Shop, Two Boroughs Performance Brewery, Chevrolet Camaro number 4, Dylan Wilson. And starting 14th from Madison, North Carolina, in the R&S race cars, Solid Rock Carriers, WG Speaks, Caswell Glass, Ford Mustang number 6, that's Bobby McCarty. From Fredericksburg, Virginia, in the Connor Jones Racing, Pepper Jack Kennels, Fire Suppressions, number 44, Connor Jones. Starting 12th from Mechanicsville, Virginia, in the Top Gun Motorsports, Chevrolet Camaro, number 8B, Chase Burrow. From Youngsville, North Carolina, in the Mike Darn Racing, ABC Hosiery and Apparel, Gildan Chevrolet Camaro, number 1, Andrew Grady. Now to your top 10. Starting 10th from Oak Ridge, North Carolina, in the Lee Pulliam Performance, Thunder Road Harley-Davidson, Grand Atlantic Ocean Resorts, Chevrolet Camaro, number 2, Brandon Pierce. Starting 9th out of Aledo, Texas, in the Mike Darn Racing, Butler-built seats, Speed Ranch setup, Chevrolet Camaro, number 10, that's Caden Honeycutt. Starting 8th from Manassas, Virginia, in the Chad Bryant Racing, Solid Rock Carriers, number 24, Mason Diaz. From Statesville, North Carolina, in the Seville Millington Motorsports, Leisure Time Rentals, Carolina Specialty Products, number 15, Ryan Millington. Starting 6th in tonight's field, from Raleigh, North Carolina, in the McCaskill Motorsports, Per Year Tank Lines, Blackgate Hunting Products, number 08, that's Deke McCaskill. Starting 5th from Lexington, North Carolina, in the Bassett Racing, Jerry Hunt Supercenter, Affordable Heating and Air, Chevrolet Camaro, number 04, Ronnie Bassett Jr. Up next, from Supply, North Carolina, in the McCumbee Elliott Racing, Aaron's Auto Sale and Lease, number 16, Chad McCumbee. Starting 3rd, from Dallas, North Carolina, in the Carroll Speed Shop, Hefner's Towing and Recovery, Chevrolet Camaro, number 95, Jacob Hefner. It is now time for tonight's front row, starting outside from Mooresville, North Carolina, in the Junior Motorsports Bass Pro Shop, Chevrolet Camaro, number 8, that is Carson Quapple. And your pole sitter for tonight's Carolina 125, out of Chesapeake, Virginia, in the Lee Pulliam Performance Best Repair Company, 03, that's Brendan Butterbean Queen.
Thank you so much, Devin, and great job here on your driver interest. High five. Your first time here, totally killed it. And the drivers are starting to get strapped into their cars. 125 laps are up next for the best of the best late model stock drivers in the country.
Thank you, Jacqueline. As they'll have a few moments to get strapped in and ready to go before we take to New River All-American Speedway for 125 laps of action. You see a full stout field of 20 late model stock cars ready to do battle in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. Let's take a look at the point standings entering tonight's race. We've got 12 races down, 4 more to go, including this one. Carson Quapple, your points leader by 41 over Brendan Queen, and those two ahead of the rest of the field. A good battle from third on down. Mason Diaz there, Ryan Millington, Bobby McCarty, Chad McCumbee, Connor Hall, Jacob Hefner, all in the mix, but it's been the consistency of Quapple and Queen. Even when they don't find victory lane, which has happened a good bit this year, they managed to find top fives, top tens consistently and done that more so than the rest of the field. That's why those two are tops of the standings, and Quapple will look to try and extend his lead on Queen. Those two, incidentally, start first and second this evening, just in reverse order. Queen will be your leader to the green flag. Quapple will start to his outside. But lots of fun storylines that you can sort of see represented amongst the top 10 in the points standings. Not too long before we go battle for the 13th race in this 2023 Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour season. Not too much more racing to go, but if you want to try and join the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour on some of its future dates, we head to South Boston Speedway and Tri-County Speedway in October before the season finale, the first weekend of November at Caraway Speedway in Asheboro, North Carolina's vicinity. So you want the opportunity to join the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour and have some fun, see some of the best late model stock car racing or pro late model racing in the country. You're welcome to join us in person at any of those tracks. And if you can't join us in person, you can always watch it all live on Flow Racing or on demand. So if you went to the race and you want to go back and watch the replay and see what the perspective was from the broadcast point of view, you can do that as well. We'll take a moment to step aside, but when we come back, we'll have the command to fire engines at the beginning of the Carolina 125. You're watching the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour on Flow Racing. Welcome back to New River All-American Speedway in Jacksonville, North Carolina for Flow Racing's coverage of the Carolina 125 presented by Milam Equipment Rentals for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. James Pike up at the booth, Jacqueline Drake joining me on the broadcast, and we're almost set to go. Just a quick little note on what we talked about before we went to break. If you're wondering what the dates are for the final three races of the season, we'll be in South Boston at South Boston Speedway on October 7th. October 21st is our date for Tri-County Speedway in Granite Falls, North Carolina, and officially it's Sophia, North Carolina, that is home to Caraway Speedway. That race, the season finale as part of the North-South Shootout, will be on November 4th, and you can get more information at carsracingtour.com for any of those three events if you're interested in joining us at the racetrack. And as always, if you can't make it out, you can watch it all live or on demand on Flow Racing. A good crowd out here in Onslow County, ready to take on the Cars Tour. One of the farther dates for most of the series, most of the field. Everybody has ties either around the Charlotte or the Raleigh metropolitan areas. So a bit of a hike to get out here, but a fun place to be and a place that we are ready to go racing at. Let's head down trackside one more time to Jacqueline Drake.
It's time to get started here, and joined beside me we have Brindley, our 2023 Junior Miss Independence, and we have Mr. Anthony Goodyear, owner-operator of New River All-American Speedway. And you're going to give us the most famous words in motorsports. Here we go.
Okay, you ready? All right. Gentlemen, start your engines! Thank you everybody out there. I appreciate the support. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Jacqueline. Everybody that's involved. New River All-American Speedway. This is the best track in North Carolina.
"125 laps await us as the engines have been fired here at Jacksonville's Action Attraction. A fun track, a unique track, a great night of racing ahead of us. We've already had a good start, had two good features with local division racing in the Champ Carts and the Bandoleros, but this is the show of the evening. All eyes on Brendan Queen, Carson Quapple, and the rest of the stars of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour as they get set to do battle for 125 laps just off of the North Carolina coast. Our one coastal trip for the year, but a fun one, a very entertaining track New River All-American Speedway has become since Mr. Goodyear took it over a few years ago, and tonight we expect will be no exception with some of the best late model stock car racing and one of the best setups for a good race that you can think of. I look back at what we had last year here, and it was one of the most entertaining races the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour had all season long. There was action, there was drama, there was side-by-side battles, there were incidents few and far between, but they were there just enough to shake things up a little bit. And in the end, Connor Hall was our first winner here. We'll find out who joins him as the winner at New River All-American Speedway a little bit later on this evening as we welcome Jacqueline to the booth. And Jacqueline, you have been running up and down, getting your workout, but ready to go here for 125 laps of action, ready for what should be a really, really, really good race.
Yeah, I definitely am excited for this. And, you know, all throughout the day, we've been talking to several of the drivers, and it's been quite the split between confidence. If somebody feels really good about this track, or they're just not so sure. Now, for those that may have never been here before, myself included, this was the first time that I'd ever been to New River. I actually took a little bit of a track walk earlier alongside James, and looking over into turns 1 and 2, there is quite the difference between the entry of the corner to the exit of the corner. You can actually see that within the groove. Just at the top right of your corner, you'll see the rubber that actually sends downhill towards the wall. That is the preferred racing groove. And the differences too between turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now we're looking at that corner and just exactly heading down into turn 2. You can see right there in the center how rough that is. Some drivers absolutely love this. Some drivers absolutely hate this about this facility, but that is going to be the split difference between some of these drivers tonight. I'm excited to see who can conquer this track and take home the win. Brendan Butterqueen, the 0-3, clearly sitting at a great position. We spoke to him earlier. His confidence is at an all-time high. But Carson Quapple, no mistake, 5 wins so far this season, your points leader. He has had momentum like no other driver has had in this series before. So I definitely think that we're signed up for a really good night tonight, James. But what is your thoughts as we are going to unravel this feature event?
Well, I'll dovetail off of what you just said a few moments ago with regards to the surface here. The comparison I made to you both during the track walk and as I've made throughout the day has been, you liken it to Darlington before any of its repaves, or the old North Carolina Motor Speedway in Rockingham, where you had the abrasive asphalt that maybe wasn't quite what Atlanta Motor Speedway was a few years before it finally got its repave, but abrasive enough to where it's that classic coastal salty sea mixture that wears down the pavement here and forces you to conserve tires. So it is rough. This place has also not been repaved since it opened in 1999. So we're working with the original asphalt, and it's held up well over the last quarter century, but there is some wear to it as well. So drivers are going to have to manage their way around this racetrack. Other point, as you talk about turn 2, a lot of drivers I spoke to said that there was a lot of Richmond in the way you exit that corner, and in the way that it doesn't necessarily funnel, but the banking sort of falls away a little bit from the right-hand side of the car. And if you try and push a little bit too much, if your car is tight, you just can't get it to turn on corner exit, you may put put yourself in the fence, especially if you're racing alongside somebody. So that's something that we'll have to watch out for, because there were a lot of incidents on the back straightaway just off of things like that last year when we were here.
Yeah, and to that point, the exit of turn 2 is very similar to Southern National. Whenever you have that natural momentum off of turn 2 that would gradually put you towards the wall, here you can't just let that happen. You have a little bit of a pinch in that back straightaway. And the other thing is too, whenever they hold the throttle going down to the end of the back straightaway, they can hold it just a little bit longer, because you can sail the car off into turns 3 and 4. Naturally, your car is going to slow you down. These are heavy enough late models to do so. So this makes for a really fun track to race, but because of all the differences in braking, in throttle control, of course the rough surface and the saving that comes into play, I think we're going to see a potential for a lot of contact between these competitors. Many of them spoke about just that we're going to go 3 wide today. But as we say that, Brandon Willard upon the flag stand right now, he's going to show 1 to go to the field as we line up side by side this 20-car late model stock field.
0.4 of a mile is this New River All-American Speedway just outside of Jacksonville, North Carolina. It is a action-packed place. It is Jacksonville's action attraction as they brand themselves here, and they are ready for 125 laps of racing. Hearing that we have debris in turn 3, so we are going to delay the start just a little bit. We'll have a little bit more time to pontificate, I suppose. But, you know, as I look at the screen and look at some of our drivers starting up front, get a look of the drivers starting in 4th and 5th. Chad McCumbee and Ronnie Bassett Jr. Ronnie Bassett picks up a podium at Wake County last time out. Not the first time that he's made a late race charge to the front and managed to get a podium finish out of it. And then Chad McCumbee was 3rd here. He would have won the Hard Charger Award last year. Picked up 13 positions after starting in the 16th position. This time around, he'll start inside the top 5. So I think he'll definitely appreciate the better qualifying effort this time, and we'll hope to try and go a few spots better at the end of the night.
Speaking of Chad McCumbee, I caught up with him earlier, and he's just coming off of a crew chief win with Sam Yarbrough last weekend at Florence Motor Speedway. Spoiler alert, it's also a track that uses up tires, so you would think that they would have a good game plan coming in today. You know what he told me? I don't have a plan. I stopped making a plan years ago, which is hilarious coming from Chad McCumbee. So I can't wait to see what they have underneath the hood. Is it just a game? Is it just a poker face? What did he give me there?
It's a track program and a kind of track like Florence, like New River All-American, like Langley, that has well suited that whole team. When they go run flat tracks that are abrasive, we have to save tires, they run well. Not surprised they went to victory in the locked-in 150 at the Martin Ward Memorial, and had the opportunity to go get Sam Yarbrough there, get him on pole for the South Carolina 400 at Florence Motor Speedway later this year in November, which you could also see on Flow Racing. So you want to keep your eyes on that. And now for the 3rd time, we get the 1 to go here from Mr. Brandon Ward, flagman extraordinaire. And I hope, Jacqueline, 3rd time here is the charm for us all.
Yeah, and as a driver, this is actually something, while you're in the seat, it builds up that anticipation. You're itching to go. You're like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Drivers are going to line up side by side. Pace car is going to take it extremely low and slow on the back straightaway as we're going to anticipate green flag.
Jim Bushy will bring the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour pace car off out of turn 4. Brendan Queen will have the opportunity to lead us to green as Anthony Goodyear waves the green flag, and the Carolina 125 presented by Milam Equipment Rentals is underway from New River All-American Speedway.
Great start by Carson Quapple on the outside, that number 8. Man, I thought that Brennan Butterby Queen was going to get a better restart than he did, but I think he took it a little bit slower than he anticipated. He's going to get a run, Carson Quapple, on the outside and sail it off into turns 1 and 2. Brennan Butterby Queen forced to hold down that 0-3 to the inside. Jacob Hefner not far behind him, and here he comes now, who we just talked about, the number 16. It's Chad McCumbee.
Top 4 all there right on top of one another. And we talked a little bit before we went on air during qualifying that I'd be curious to see how Butterbean would approach this race, because at tracks like this, he traditionally is big on saving and backing down pace. And there will, I think, be the opportunity for somebody behind him to make a pass to go out front to get the lead, but will they burn up their tires and not have any good to run at the end? Something we'll want to watch for as we slide a little bit further back in the field. This is Mason Diaz and Ryan Millington fighting for the 7th position. Deke McCaskill just ahead of them in 6th.
Mason Diaz looks like he's trying to fight for that inside position, not wanting to hold out on the outside and use up the tires more that he can, but there's nothing open for him just yet. Meanwhile, right behind him, though, you have Caden Honeycutt and Connor Jones, who's stuck on the outside, followed by Bobby McCarty in that number 6.
Connor Jones was really, really high on his prospects for this evening. When I talked to him earlier this afternoon, he said everything about the way this car handles is better this year when it was last year. And he had a car that ran in the top 5 for a good chunk of the race last year. I asked him, if you're putting it on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you compare him? He said, last year, I think my car was about a 7.5. This year, it's a 9. So plenty of confidence from Connor Jones and plenty of ability to make it up to the front. He's won in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour before, and we'll look to get back to victory lane again tonight as this battle just in the back of the top 10 continues to rage. Millington is there. Bobby McCarty is to the outside. Caden Honeycutt to the inside behind Millington, and Andrew Grady behind McCarty up top.
McCarty, 3-time Cars Tour champion, trying to get down to that inside lane. Ryan Millington, as we go side by side here, you see the battle for the lead on your left side. You see the battle there further back with Bobby McCarty on the right side, now battling for 9th place. He's going to try to see if there's a gap open. We see Chad McCumbee, a little bit of run on the outside now, going to compete for that lead early on.
So McCumbee is the one who looks like he wants to go to the front and figure this out, as McCumbee will jump ahead of Brendan Queen. I was just about to make the point. Our pole time for Brendan Queen was a 16.002. Last time by 17.6 seconds. So they are over a second and a half off the pace that they were running in qualifying. That tells you just how much Brendan Queen is conserving. So we talked about it a few laps ago. McCumbee is the one that has decided to go up front and get a few laps led. But if McCumbee pushes, will there be any good on his tires left at the end of this race to fight should Butterbean or Quapple or Connor Jones or anybody else up front try and charge back to pass McCumbee and try and get the win?
Chad McCumbee, the man that said he has no plan, clearly has a plan as he continues to lead this field around. Brendan Butterbean Queen going to see a pass right now from Ronnie Bassett Jr. out on the outside. You can clearly see how slow Brendan is trying to take it, almost holding back that inside lane and clumping up everybody together. You're going to see Bobby McCarty continuing to hold on that outside, trying to get down the inside, unable to do so. Behind him is Andrew Grady fighting for his spot as well.
I think we're very clearly seeing some trends in the opening few laps of this race. 112 laps to go here at New River All-American Speedway. And the biggest one I'm picking up on is if you want to get in the front and you want track position, you're going up top, you're passing people on the outside. I will stress, I'm not surprised to see Butterbean fall back a little bit, because this is what he typically does at tracks like this. He'll save tires and wait until the very end. He won at Langley last year on the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour with his own house car before he made the move to lead podium performance, and that was really his breakout performance. And in that race, he dropped to just about dead last in the field, and then in the last 40 laps climbed all the way back up through it after everybody else had burnt their tires off, and all of a sudden there he was in Edelbrock victory lane. So this is nothing new for Butterbean. The question is, how quickly will he be able to get back up to the front if he is around there with 40 laps to go and he has cars to pass?
Bobby McCarty now working his way on the outside. Minnie Tyrell decides, I'm going to go with him. He started, Bobby McCarty started 14th, and now he's working his way up, battling for that 5th position on the outside now between Butterbean Queen and Jacob Hebner behind him. Minnie Tyrell's hoping to make the move as well. He came all the way from 18th.
Big moves for a lot of people. Lots of drivers really beginning to dig in and find their place, find their rhythm, find where they want to be on this track. We're seeing Bobby McCarty, Minnie Tyrell seem pretty comfortable on the high line, which traditionally isn't necessarily the place you want to be long term, but you can run side by side here. There's plenty of asphalt to work with, and we've seen it on some of the restarts last year. They would go 3 wide and sometimes 4 wide and just wouldn't even blink. So I don't think we're quite at that level of aggression yet to where we need to be on our toes for that, but just file that on the way in the back of your mind if you're paying attention to this race, because we might not see it with 100 laps to go, but with 25 laps to go, I think we're looking at a different story altogether.
Mini Tyrell's now made his way all the way up to 6th position. Now we're looking at Landon Huffman on the outside, maybe doing the same move that we saw Bobby McCarty, currently sitting in 10th, working out the back, working on the outside of that number 95 of Jacob Hefner. Just in hindsight, they've completely fallen back now out of the top 10 if Landon Huffman gets around them.
Landon Huffman, what a turnaround for Huffman and that program, who has just really brought it on. He came over middle of the season, took over for Cale Gale in that 22 machine for Nelson Motorsports at A Speedway back at the beginning of May, and within 3 months found his way into Edelbrock victory lane by virtue of a victory in the Old North State Nationals at Tri-County Speedway, one of the crown jewels of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour season, no less. So it's been a big hike and a big move to the outside. McCarty looked like he thought about blocking him for a moment and then decided better of it. So Huffman will continue to try and charge for the front, now up to 6, looking at maybe getting Connor Jones for a spot in the top 5.
Definitely think this is a move by Landon Huffman for track position. As you can see, he's almost been shot out of a cannon right now, passing cars left and right. He's made his way up all the way to 4th place currently. Chad McCumbee, though, continuing to lead over these cars, and Ronnie Bassett Jr. closing in the gap of the number 16.
Car to the outside there. We haven't had the chance to talk about Logan Clark all that much, the driver for R&S Race Cars out of Mechanicsville, Virginia, but you see him up on the high line working to the outside of Connor Jones. This would be for the 5th position, and Quapple would be 4th. But this is a driver that joined the series at Dominion Raceway back in June with the intentions of running out the rest of this season and looking towards a potential full-time ride in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour for 2024. And I talked to him back earlier this summer, and he said, we want the rest of this year to just be a learning experience for us, because we know that the level of competition here is way higher than what we see on a regular week at Dominion or anywhere else for that matter. That's the nature of regional touring series races. So we just wanted to make sure that we understood what we were getting ourselves into so that we could come into 2024 with a good blueprint and notebook and plan to be successful consistently throughout next season. So it's not necessarily about 2023, but you wouldn't know it because he's already rocketed up to 2nd and is working on Chad McCumbee. And while you're looking at the battle for the race lead, I will make the point that the last lap time for Chad McCumbee, a 17.995, almost 2 seconds off of the pole time.
Logan Clark going to take the lead now. The number 15, that rookie to the Cars Store, going to lead his first time here. His crew members even said last night, they said, we want to lead a lap in this series. He's going to do so now, crossing the start-finish line. We have a new leader there, Logan Clark. Looking ahead for him, he's actually really excited for the Martinsville event coming up in 2 weeks, the biggest late model stock event. Over 100 drivers, man, enter into that thing, and he's really looking forward to that. He's currently sitting 5th in the Triple Crown standings, so definitely not out of the picture for him to potentially take home that championship. Now we're looking at Carson Quapple and Connor Jones currently sitting at 5th and 6th. Leader to your left, and Ronnie Bassett 3rd and 4th. You'll see Landon Huffman in that number 22 that made his way up to 4th, and he looks like he's sitting pretty and happy where he is finally. Seems to have slowed his pace down quite a bit.
And Brendan Queen, back of your leaders by 5.3 seconds, sitting in the 10th position. For what it's worth. So that's how far he's fallen back just in the first 30 laps, as you get a good look at Connor Jones and Carson Quapple. Jones up to 5th, Quapple back to 6th. And I think the question here is, if you push and you gain the track position early, like a lot of our top 5 have, you had to burn a little bit to get there, but how much did you burn? Can you save enough tire to try and get up front? And I would almost wonder, in a theoretical sense, I think ideally you wouldn't necessarily want to be too far out ahead of everybody else. You'd want to be leading by essentially just enough to make sure that you got the track position and you can keep it, but you also have enough tire to race these drivers at the end.
Yeah, and another thing too, James, is that not only are you wanting to lead, but you're also wanting to put the rest of your competitors down a lap. So as we have these long green flag runs, trying to put other competitors down towards the back of the field can be an advantage for you, especially towards the end part of this. This series also has a 40-lap competition caution, so 40 consecutive green flag laps, and we will go to a caution, which we are approaching here shortly.
Should be within the next 4 laps if we don't get a yellow before then. So competition caution, an opportunity for these drivers to catch their breath, reset, bunch the field up. That's also part of the reason why you don't necessarily want to lead by too much. You don't want to be out in front any more than you have to be at this stage, because you know that the field is going to get bunched back up again anyway. So you're going to lose whatever advantage it gains. So finding a comfortable pace that you can maintain over the course, especially these first 80 laps, because we won't get a comp caution within the last 25. It'll all be natural yellows from that point on. So just things to keep in mind if you're trying to reverse engineer this race. Lots and lots and lots of tire saving, which is typical of a race here out on the Carolina or the Virginia coast.
Manny Tyrrell is going to take away position. 6th place is going to go to that number 81 as he goes to the outside of Bobby McCarty. Speaking of Minnie earlier, he has done so many things when it comes to children's cancer charities. And just last week, he actually has a Dream Racer, which is a race car that children that are battling cancer can sit in and play video games while they're getting an ID. So it's actually constructed and able to do that. He went out to Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. and donated that Dream Racer to that hospital. So hats off to that number 81. As I say, that caution flag is going to fly. That competition caution is here.
Yep, first competition caution of the evening. That comes out on lap 85. We'll take a quick break and be back with more action from New River All-American Speedway. Welcome back to New River All-American Speedway for the Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals here at New River All-American Speedway. James Pike, Jacqueline Drake here in the tower above this 4/10 mile, Jacksonville's action attraction. And Jacqueline, a very intriguing first 40 laps of this race, especially if you love strategy.
Mason Diaz now into the pits. That number 24, it looks like they're going to work on the left front and wipe off the hood, apply some tape. Maybe he was having some hood pin issues. Sometimes you see drivers and teams do that if they see the hood spline up a little bit. But going to do a little bit of work on the number 24. Looks a little bit like an adjustment on that left front, potentially with the shock.
You can make adjustments like that, but worth noting that in a race like this, you are not allowed to change tires unless you have what is known as an approved flat tire, where if you run over something, you get debris, your tire goes down, all of a sudden a car store official has to come over and approve that your tire is flat, essentially verify that, you know, it's not just a change for performance, that you actually need one to get back out on the track, at which point they'll allow you to switch one. But beyond that, it's just adjustments, tire pressure, suspension adjustments in the front end, trying to keep the hood down if, in fact, you're having some issues with the hood pins, as Diaz will make his way back out onto the racetrack. Was running towards the back of this field anyway, so not much track position that he's going to lose, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity, if you are a fan of the Chad Bryant Racing Machine, to get back up towards the front. But all things that you sort of have to keep in mind. This is very much a thinking driver's race, which, Jacqueline, given your experience, if you're a Butterbean, what are you looking for here in this next 40?
Yeah, I definitely think what these drivers are doing is going to be saving down until we get to where things are going to get a little bit more dicey. So I think Brennan Butterbean is definitely right about doing anything he can to save his tires. As we say, that pace car is going to come down to the field, and we're going to go green.
Ready to go for what could be the second 40-lap run if we go green flag yet again. Back underway in the Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals here at New River All-American Speedway. Logan Clark out clear by about 2 car lengths, and a good battle there between Landon Huffman and Chad McCumbee for the second spot.
Great restart by Logan Clark. Landon Huffman on that outside caution flag is going to fly. We'll look across the track surface and see what that was for.
I suspect no issues that I can see on the racetrack, so potentially a restart violation. You get 1 warning if you are the driver at fault, and then the second time you get sent to the rear. Those are the rules here in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. So one of our folks up front maybe getting a word from race control Danny Willard, and potentially getting a talking to, per se, right?
Just a little bit of a talking to there, and we'll see Brandon going to show the 1 to go as we'll approach the KRC Power Steering restart line this time around. 85 laps to go. There's plenty of racing left.
Plenty of time for things to change in this race as Brandon Willard swaps out the yellow to the green flag, and our flag man extraordinaire will have the opportunity to get us back underway here in Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals at New River All-American Speedway. Logan Clark, Landon Huffman to lead us back to the green as Brandon Willard unfurls the green flag. We're back at it, and Clark will get a good jump by maybe a car length or car length and a half, call it. He'll jump ahead, and here comes McCumbee to the inside of Huffman for second.
Cars all over the back. Connor Jones, Carson Quapple, and Ronnie Bassett Jr. going to make moves all behind the top 3. Throw a blanket over them. Now you see Chad McCumbee in second place. Connor Jones going to apply a little bit of pressure from behind, peek to the inside. He's not going to do anything about it. Pulls on back. Landon Huffman trying to squeeze back now into the 4th place position.
Connor Jones had the opportunity to get into the back of Chad McCumbee and thought better of it. When I talked to him earlier, he said the biggest key for him this year was just keeping his nose clean. He had some issues with that in 2022, so I wonder if that's just a little bit more experience, a little bit more maturity in play, as Jones thought about it, went to the outside, make the pass on McCumbee, and now sits just behind Logan Clark and has the opportunity to go after the race lead if he so chooses. A little bit further back, Ronnie Bassett Jr., Bobby McCarty, Minnie Tyrell, all right behind Carson Quapple. This is right on the back end of the top 5.
Going to make their way up and see if they want to mix up a little bit. And as we look towards the front of this field, Logan Clark continuing to lead the way. We see Ronnie Bassett Jr. working to the inside of Bobby McCarty for 6th and 7th. Carson Quapple right ahead of them. Seems pretty happy to where they are. Going to take the pace and dial it back just a little bit to see how much they can save as we continue through this tire conservation track.
Logan Clark has jumped out front nicely. Meanwhile, further back, this is Jacob Hefner and Brendan Queen working each other over for track position. That's for 9th and 10th on the racetrack. And now Queen goes to the outside of Hefner, makes the pass. Minnie Tyrell to the outside of Bobby McCarty, and may make that pass off the corner and look to the outside of Ronnie Bassett Jr. He'll get 2 in a lap and move his way up into the 5th position.
That outside lane rolling quite nicely. Minnie Tyrell going to continue to take advantage of this as much as he can get with track position possible. Everybody seems to be racing quite nicely, though. They're letting each other in. They're not being too overly aggressive. Connor Jones being the first that we saw of actually contact here in this race so far. Minnie Tyrell, though, going to send it off to the outside now, battling for 2nd place with Connor Jones.
So this, I think, is a strategy play for Minnie Tyrell. This is, we want track position, and then we'll see if we can hold on to what we have. Same sort of thing that Logan Clark has done, same sort of thing that Connor Jones has done, and you could argue Chad McCumbee and Landon Huffman to a point, though they had a little bit less work to get up towards the front by virtue of their qualifying efforts. McCumbee especially, who started in the 4th position. So just worth keeping an eye on that as we work towards the end of this race. Who started where, how much work they've had to do to get up front, and what sort of tire they may have when we get to the end of this race when it really does matter.
Mini Tyrell. He's only had 1 top 5 this season and 4 top 10s. Speaking to him earlier, he said, we made some changes halfway through the season and it completely tanked us. We've been struggling ever since. When I asked him what his goal was today, he said, I want to get a top 10 and a clean nose. We would be happy. We would be overjoyed. So him currently sitting in second place has to be huge for his family-run team. He's going to continue to hold it on the outside here. We've got some contact, though, now. Chad McCumbie's going to pay back that number 44.
Chad McCumbie works right to the inside of Connor Jones. He gave Connor Jones just a little tap, and I think McCumbie sort of sent a message, and Jones said, you know what, I'll wait to try and push the issue. There's a time and there's a place for that. And with 73 laps to go, I don't think that's now, as Huffman now works to the outside of Carson Quapple for the 5th position.
Quite a difference here between drivers that are clearly saving and falling further back and ones that are taking advantage of this and riding that outside lane, which has been quite interesting. Landon Huffman, though, going to push to the outside of Chad McCumbie, but here comes Connor Jones.
Landon Huffman, I don't think, had anywhere to go. I wonder if he pushed, maybe he would have a little bit more pace than Mini Tyrell, but decides to sit behind the 81 machine, and the Autos by Nelson car will hang out towards the back, and Carson Quapple will bring his Bass Pro Shops Club Chevrolet for Junior Motorsports back underneath Huffman and up into the 5th position once again. Tyrell's really the only car on the outside line amongst most of the top 10 at this stage.
Carson Quapple, he's one of the drivers that has less practice than any other driver here on this facility. He missed practice day yesterday because he was competing in the ARCA Menards race. He took home 2nd place, his first ever start in the series. He's also going to be doing a truck race next week. The points leader currently 5 wins under his hat for the season so far competing here. I asked his dad, I saw him down in the pits, Travis Quapple. I said, did you go with him in the ARCA race? He said, yeah. I go, well, are you tired? He goes, no, I took a nap in the truck. So Travis is rested up, but Carson Quapple, he's been behind the wheel wherever it may be. We've got 2 screens here. Battle for the lead on the left side, continuing to do the battle for 5th place on the right.
Of course, Carson's dad no stranger to this life either, because his dad is former NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion Travis Quapple. I believe early 2000, was it 2003, I think? I have to go back and double check, but a former Truck Series champion who knows about all this, who has taught Carson well in the art of racecraft. And Carson, yes, going to be making his NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series debut at Bristol Motor Speedway next week with Spire Motorsports. A big, big, big week.
2003 Travis Quapple Truck Championship. You were close.
I said 2003.
Oh, you said 03.
I did say 03, right?
Well, you got it.
Right. So my memory has not faded me yet, thank goodness. That's coming later, I imagine. But,
yeah, I feel like that's already happening to me right now.
Right. I can tell you what is happening right now is Landon Huffman's working to the inside of Mini Tyrell. I'm not sure if these two, I can't tell if it's actual racing for position or just trying to figure out where they want to be on the racetrack, because they both have run the top, they both have run the bottom. I think they've sort of collectively agreed, okay, and said, all right, we'll just all run the bottom, and, you might just be ahead of me for a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely. You see them, again, taking advantage of the ones that are going quite slower than the other ones and taking that track position. But like you mentioned earlier, I'm a little concerned about how much they're actually able to save once we have that final restart. Will they have anything left if they're burning it up all right now? And a few of these battles have been side by side for lap after lap after lap. If you're on the outside, it's nothing to that inside groove guy to push you up towards the wall.
Brandon Willard has the cross flags above the flag stand at the start-finish line, and that means that Logan Clark is our iRacing Halfway Leader Award winner for this evening. So Clark picks that up for the first time in 2023. As you get a good look between Quapple and Landon Huffman, this continues to be the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, and then Caden Honeycutt there just to the back of it in 7th. We haven't talked about him, the Mike Dorn racing driver out of Aledo, Texas, all that much, but Honeycutt, just one of those drivers who can hop in anything at any time and be quick. I think my favorite story was he went out and he ran the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Phoenix last year, and then had to be on the same plane as Zane Smith after Zane won the title. So he didn't leave Phoenix until 2, but got on the plane, flew back, found his way to Caraway. I think he arrived at Caraway about 12:15 local time for a 1:30 program start in the season finale last year. but that's the kind of racer that Caden Honeycutt is. Give him an opportunity, he will show up, and he will find a way to get the most out of his equipment time in, time out. Again, we've seen it a lot in the Truck Series this year, but there's a lot that he's done in the car store too. Former winner in this series at Caraway Speedway as well.
Yeah, and something else that he's been racing on the side has been a dirt modified back home at Kennedale Speedway, one of my old stomping grounds down there. And not only he's been running it, but he's been winning in it. So we got dirt modifieds competing in the Truck Series, doing late models, doing iRacing. He's doing it all and loving it all. Caden Honeycutt in that number 10, he's going to be bringing us, I think, many big things. And wow, as we say that, Mini Tyrell going to come right out of a rocket there, battling for that third place for Connor Jones now.
Just let past all of them. Just let past all of them to make his way up into the third position. So I would say, just watching the way that all panned out and given how slow these cars are, that was a very calculated decision, I think, to say, you know what, I want the 2 to 3 spots, and then we might be able to defend here towards the last competition caution, and we'll see how that all works out. There's Bobby McCarty a little bit further back. You see him in the 6th position, and then you've got Honeycutt. Connor Jones is still sitting there right behind Mini Tyrell. So everybody just sort of waiting for their moment, knowing that if we don't get another yellow flag, we're due to have another competition caution. As you see Logan Clark beginning to catch lap traffic. Mason Diaz, Brandon Pierce, and Chase Burrow all ahead of him. You can see him in the shot, maybe about 5 or 6 car lengths ahead. They are all racing to stay on the lead lap before the competition caution hits.
Logan Clark has been doing a great job leading this field, but also slowing the pace down, so it's benefit on his own. And you look to the right side, we'll see Jacob Hefner now battling on the outside with Brennan Butter being queen. You can see sparks flying out from his car, hitting that track surface just a little bit, working to the outside of Caden Honeycutt now.
You know, we talked about tire saving so much, and as I look at the board here, a little bit surprised to see Andrew Gritty a little bit further back. You see him just on the edge of the shot, the right-hand portion of your screen in that lower box. But I talked to Gritty earlier, and he gave me a very intriguing equation. As you see Chad McCumbee working to the inside for the race lead, potentially underneath Logan Clark, trying to get the lead potentially before the competition caution.
Track position can mean everything, especially if it is for the lead Logan Clarkson. I'm not going to give it up that easy, though. Brandon Pierce in jeopardy of getting lapped, though, right before we go to the caution. Going to affect this battle for the lead just a little bit. Chad McCumbee edging out a little bit there on the back straight A. Connor Jones is going to sit back and watch it all take place.
Connor Jones is right there. If either one of these two slip up, working our way within the last 3 laps before we get the competition caution, McCumbee is right there on the rear bumper of Brandon Pierce. You know that this trio of Diaz and Burrow and Pierce is picking up the pace now because they have no choice. There are no free passes, no lucky dogs here in the car store, so you have to stay on the lead lap if you want a shot to win this race.
If you're sitting in that position, you're hoping Chad McCumbee dials it back just a little bit, but Brandon Pierce is going to put the heat on the number 8 right there of Chase Burrow, working at his inside, trying to gain a gap between him and the leader of McCumbee, and he does so now as we have another lap in the books. Logan Clark now has heated it up just a little bit, slides, changing up his line to see if he can gain anything over the 16.
McCumbee versus Clark for the lead here, coming to the competition caution within the next handful of laps or so. Should be about 1 or 2 laps away from the next comp yellow. Can Logan Clark make the move?
Chad McCumbee looking to the inside. They are going to bump the number 2 of Brandon Pierce now in jeopardy of going that lap down. Caution flag is going to fly just in time. Wipe the sweat off your brow. If you're Brandon Pierce right now, we have a competition caution. Chad McCumbee got what he wanted, the lead of this field.
He got the lead. He got the track position. That's the biggest key. We'll take a quick break and then be back with more action in the Carolina 125 here from New River All-American Speedway on Flow Racing. Welcome back to Flow Racing's coverage of the Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals at New River All-American Speedway. James Pike and Jacqueline Drake bringing you all the action of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, late model stock cars. Second competition caution out of the way, and most importantly, Jacqueline, because we are going to be, or at least in theory would be, within the final 25 laps of the race. If we threw another one, we're not going to get another competition caution. So all cautions from here on out will be natural yellow flags.
This is the point in the race that all the drivers have been waiting for. We have a shot down on pit road. Brandon Pierce now, that number 2 Lee Pulliam Performance team, is looking under the right side of the car, diagnosing exactly what's going on now as they hand him a little bit of Pedialyte there on the driver's side and some water. It is quite a humid night here at Jacksonville, North Carolina, and see what we can diagnose underneath the right side of that car.
It's a humid night, but it's not as hot as it was at Wake County a few weeks ago, where we were dealing with overheating issues with a lot of the engines in this field just because it was so warm, almost 96 degrees. Mason Diaz back in from Water Service as well. And these are two cars that had been struggling for handling over the course of that second green flag run. They were the ones just in front of Logan Clark and Chad McCumbee trying to fight off going a lap down. So they'll get the opportunity to come in and adjust their machines. But anything is possible for anyone in this field, I think. I've seen so many races at tracks like this where you can make a run in the final 40 laps from the back to the front. So even if we haven't necessarily seen pace from the likes of Brandon Pierce or Mason Diaz, I'm not ruling them out at this point because I've seen people do crazier things than go from 20th to first.
Yeah, definitely. Anything is not ruled out as we're going to approach the KRC Power Steering restart line.
45 laps to go, and we will go green from here on out unless there is a natural yellow that gets thrown. McCumbee to the front, Jones to second, Logan Clark slides back to third, Minnie Tyrell to fourth as Clark immediately drops towards the back. And look at Landon Huffman and Carson Quapple working to the inside and the outside of Clark's machine to try and take away positions.
Quapple, Clark, and Huffman going to make it 3 wide now in turns 1 and 2. Huffman going to be stuck out there on the outside, going to try to hold his own from Clark as he gets up into the wall just a little bit. We got a 3 wide further back too, though. Man, oh man, we have contact all over. Battle for the lead right now as Connor Jones looks to the back of Chad McCumbee as throw a blanket over the whole back of the field on your right screen.
They begin to sort out things, and Logan Clark starts to slide, and it begs the question, did Logan Clark push a little bit too hard early in this race to try and get the lead? Did he burn off the good of his tires, and does he have anything left to make a charge back up to the front? He's already back to the 8th position, and we still have 42 laps to go, and he might lose 9th here to Bobby McCartney if he can't hold him off on the inside exiting turn 4.
Bobby McCarty, Brennan Butterbean Queen going to continue to work to that inside lane right there. But you see the number 10 of Caden Honeycutt battling Landon Huffman.
Big moves here, and look who's starting to make his way back up towards the front. We talked about how many times Brandon Butterbean Queen has saved tires, has dropped back, has not cared about track position all the way through the race because he knows you want to be up the front at the end. And there's Andrew Grady in the one machine as you've got a battle for the race lead as well. Connor Jones to the inside of the 16 of Chad McCumbee for the lead.
A little bit of bump by the 44 to let Chad McCumbee know that he's there. The 16 moved up out of the group. He's going to let him go. He's going to dip back behind him and give him a bump right on back. Chad McCumbee not playing any games here. Going to let Connor Jones take the lead now. The number 44.
It's a dangerous combination out front. Connor Jones already has more confidence than most of the Cars Tour field on any given day. And then you give him the opportunity to run like that with a car that good. Be interesting to watch. 2 drivers that I've been watching throughout this race. Andrew Grady in the black and red number 1 to the outside as we see a battle here between Carson Quapple and Minnie Tyrell. This would be for 3rd and 4th just behind McCumbee.
Yeah, I'm sure the team radios right now are saying do not let the leaders get too far away. Continue to hold on to the back in case we do go clean and green all the way to the end. Carson Quapple there battling for 3rd place with the number 81 of Minnie Tyrell. He's going to hold his own to the inside. Minnie's going to squeeze him just a little bit, which is a good veteran move there to try to hold your position and cut the momentum to that inside group. We sail off into turns 1 and 2, battling again side by side for 3rd place.
Yeah, you've got multiple groups to work with here at New River All-American Speedway, but Minnie's been running the outside more than Carson Quapple over the course of this race. You went a little bit longer distance on the outside of the racetrack and in that second group, so in theory, Minnie's tires should fall off a little bit sooner than Carson's, but who knows? Maybe the car's handling well enough to where he can compensate, and he'll be able to keep Carson Quapple at bay, which is a pretty difficult thing for anyone to do in the Cars Tour, much less Minnie Tyrell.
You look to the wheel area, that number 8. The rotors are glowing. He's really using his brake rotors quite a bit right here with 33 laps to go. He may get to the point wherever he starts losing brakes, which can affect him in these closing laps. You don't see that so much, though, on that number 81. If you watch him, he's able to slow his car down enough and not sailing it off as deep as the number 8 there. He's going to settle in right behind him and give the 3rd place to Carson Quapple.
Caden Honeycutt is there in 5th. Brendan Queen up to 6th. He just passed Jacob Hefner. So Butterbean beginning to make his charge with 30 laps to go. Here he is just behind Caden Honeycutt and Minnie Tyrell and Carson Quapple. This is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th that you see on your screens. And Brendan Queen is making his way towards the front.
Caden Honeycutt and Minnie got quite a bit of contact there whenever they were sliding back. Minnie trying to get down, but continuing to get freight trained here. Might have a gap between the 03. He's going to battle Brennan, though, and Brennan's going to take pedal to the metal to the back of the number 10 of Caden Honeycutt and continue to charge his way through the field.
Butterbean now up to the 5th position. Now trying to work over Caden Honeycutt for the 4th. Remember, Butterbean won the Battle of the Stars and $20,000 earlier this season at the beginning of March, just before the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour season started. Makes the pass on Honeycutt, comes to 4th. So he has experience with this racetrack. He's got a pretty good eye and a pretty good feel for how much you need to push at the end of these races. And now is the time, he said. A little bit further back here is Jacob Hefner and Ronnie Bassett to the inside of Minnie Tyrell. And Bassett, another one of those drivers who is pretty good at making those late race charges, but I talked to him earlier and he said, you know, I don't mind if that's how we get to the podium, but I want to try and start being a driver that consistently runs in the top 5 and just is there the whole time and has a complete race and has a really good program, rather than this late race sort of charge machine that they've created over the course of their first full-time Cars Tour season.
Yeah, that Jerry Hutt Super Center Bassett Racing family-owned team is definitely known for that. Walking in the pits earlier as they were lining up the cars, he had his 2 boys sitting on the right side taking them around. So definitely growing a household full of racers that love all things motorsports. But now we're looking to the battle for 3rd place. Here he comes, Brennan Butterbean Queen to the outside, the number 8 of Carson Quapple.
Butterbean to the outside here. This is 1 and 2 in the championship. This is 3 and 4 on the racetrack. And Butterbean will take over 3rd at the stripe, but he's only maybe a car length or 2 back of Chad McCumbee from getting 2nd. And then it's all about the chase to go run down Connor Jones in the final 20 laps of this race, as Butterbean will head to the outside and try and make quick work of the McCumbee Elliott Racing machine. That Ford Mustang on the bottom trying to hang on, but just not quite enough. Butterbean completes the pass. Brendan Queen to 2nd here, 22 laps to go.
Wow, Brennan Butterbean Queen going to continue to roll that outside all the way up to 2nd place. Now he has 1 more car in front of him, the number 44 of Connor Jones. He is only 2.6 seconds back. Plenty of time to do so, though. We got 25 laps left to go, and Connor Jones, who we saw made quite the feat up earlier. Let's see if he has anything saved. Now we're looking for the battle for 3rd place right now. Carson Quapple, Chad McCumbee battling it out. Carson Quapple going to oversee Chad McCumbee, followed by Ronnie Bassett's going to follow the number 8.
Look at Ronnie Bassett yet again making this late race run. He did the exact same thing at Wake County a few weeks ago and found his way on the podium with a 3rd place finish at the end of the night. Trying to do the same here to Carson Quapple, and more importantly, maybe just give Brendan Queen a bit of a points buffer. It wouldn't be all that much, but every spot may matter in the fight for the title, as here comes Ronnie Bassett. Might have gotten into Quapple a little bit to the inside on the exit of turn 4, but Bassett now to the bottom to try and take over 3rd. He'll get it in turn 1.
Carson Quapple, I really think he's battling something with that number 8. Looking at those brake rotors again, they are glowing. Definitely seems like he might have a problem with that number 8, but Jones
only 2.1 seconds now ahead of Brendan Butterbean Queen. Queen rolling in on the leader right now. Chad McCumbee now falling back just a little bit behind Keaton Honeycutt.
Here they come. Big battle a little bit further back. Minnie Tyrell, Jacob Hefner, Bobby McCarty, Ryan Millington, and Deke McCaskill. This is 8 through 12 amongst the drivers on the racetrack, all getting ready to knot themselves up and wad themselves together as differing tire strategies come into play.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing it all wind up here when there's 15 laps to go. Now is the time or never. If you're waiting for a caution, it may not happen. Jacob Hefner working to the inside now of Minnie Tyrell. This is for your 8th position. He's going to push him up into the wall just a little bit. No contact, though. Just tough racing between these two competitors who've been racing against each other for several years now in the Tour. Bobby McCarty held up back behind him, though, hoping they sorted out a little bit of slide that time, though, in turn 2.
Just nothing in it between these 5. Nothing to separate them at all. Minnie Tyrell's done a fabulous job of hanging on to track position on the outside, but for how much longer can he hang out up there? He'll slide in behind Hefner, so Hefner will take over 8th. Tyrell back to 9th. McCarty now has 10th, then McCaskill, then Millington. Here comes McCarty to the inside of Minnie Tyrell. This would be for the 9th position as they work through 3 and 4. 12 laps to go, 11 at the stripe.
A quick look at race monitor. Brennan Butterbean Queen has now cut down the gap to 1.8 seconds. He's slowly but surely reeling in that number 44 of Connor Jones, doing all he can. Connor Jones now has approached the back of some lap traffic as well. Going to slow him down just a little bit as we've gone side by side racing action here on Flow.
You can see the 15 of Logan Clark, who led this race earlier in the going. He's now scored a 19th. The tires have completely fallen off that 15 machine as here comes Bobby McCarty to the inside of Minnie Tyrell, fighting for that 9th position. He will have it at the stripe, but Tyrell will fight back on the outside with 10 laps to go.
Tyrell going to fight right back there, sliding just a little bit in the corners. Here comes Deke McCaskill, the veteran of the Cars Tour, has raced in this series ever since its inception. He's over 90 races with the series. We're going to go 3 wide now.
They bounce off of each other entering turn 1. McCarty and Tyrell into each other, and that gives McCaskill the opportunity to drive underneath both of them and take over at least 1 spot as McCarty will fall back, maybe 2, if he can clear Minnie Tyrell into turn 1.
McCarty had to get out of the gas there to prevent from wrecking both of them. Here comes Deke McCaskill. He's made his way. He's going to get by the 81. So far, no contact between the two of them, though. Donuts all over the left side of the number 81.
Beautiful work there. That's veteran racecraft at play from one of the most experienced drivers in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour as Deke McCaskill makes the jump and goes from 11th to 9th. As you get a good look at Connor Jones here working lap traffic, and there is Butterbean. It is now down to just about a second. Oh, trouble. Ryan Millington and Bobby McCarty in trouble. Yellow flag is out with 5 laps to go. Oh, how this changes everything at the end of this race. And this is probably the last thing that Connor Jones wanted to see.
Oh, how the tables have turned. Connor Jones did not want to see that yellow flag fly. He had a 1.7 lead gap over Brendan Butterbean Queen. He was reeling him in, but there was still not enough time for him to get up to the leader. We got a Flow Racing replay here. Let's see what happened there as Bobby McCarty comes to the inside. Ryan Millington trying to make it 3 wide. Not enough room. Ryan Millington gets into the side of number 6 of Bobby McCarty. Is going to bring him around. Bobby's able to straighten it out and not go completely around there, but it looks like the 81 maybe just squeezed him. All 3 just a little bit going into turns 3 and 4.
If you're Minnie Tyrell, I don't know if you have the opportunity to see Millington underneath McCarty there. So I don't know if you're 3 wide at that point. As you see, Minnie gets a little bit loose on corner exit coming down the backstretch. That's part of why they were 3 wide to begin with. So he loses the track position, and then he's racing as if McCarty is the only car alongside him, and Millington was trying to just get a nose in underneath McCarty to try and give himself a foothold in a battle, and everything just sort of came together in a racing incident, and McCarty and Millington go around, and this field slows down and now makes things very intriguing here with 7 laps left on
the board as it says there. We'll see what we end up with once we get everything reset and get ready to go for the restart. But not a lot of time left for anybody up front to make a move. That much we do know.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that situation was a little bit of what I like to call a racer's code. If your nose is not to the door of the other car whenever you're trying to make a pass, you're not clear. They technically can't see you. Of course, we have spotters to tell them that, but you're not clear. Ryan Millington kind of sending it down into the inside there. Can be debated if it was clear or not clear. Racer's code may say not clear. So unfortunate, though, it ended in not a good take for the number 15, Ryan Millington, because he did bring out the caution, just trying to gain an additional position, but definitely can be debated there. And then, of course, Minnie Tyrell. How would he know that they've gone 3 wide, especially from a spotter sending that information down, unable to kind of determine what exactly was going to happen there. All happened so quickly there with Ryan kind of sailing it down into turns 3 and 4.
All right, Jacqueline, you're the driver here. So when you look at what Connor Jones has done, when you look at what Brendan Queen has done, Jones ran off the front, tried to build a gap, hoped that there wouldn't be anything like this towards the end of this race, and now has to fight off Brendan Queen, who saved his tires until late, now has maybe fresher tires, definitely finally has the track position back. What do you expect out of these two within the final few laps?
I expect Connor Jones to completely play defense here. If he doesn't have any tires saved, doesn't have anything left to go here, I think he'll play defense against Brendan Butterbean Queen with some contact. Ronnie Bassett, I think, sits in a good spot as well as Michael Diaz, considering if they do get into contact with each other, they'll still have momentum and be able to go around and maybe take the lead in these closing laps. So that's what I expect to happen. Flagman's going to show 1 to goes. We'll head over into the KRC restart zone and finish out this 7 laps to go event.
Connor Jones looking for his first win since Tri-County a year ago. Brendan Queen trying to get back to victory lane for the first time since North Wilkesboro. Into the KRC power steering restart zone they go. Green flag back out. Jones ahead by about half a car length into 1 and 2.
Great restart by Jones, able to hold his own. Brendan Butterbean Queen squeezed up a little bit into the wall, going to sail it off to the outside, has the momentum. Ronnie Bassett's going to look to the inside, blocked by Connor Jones.
This got interesting. Jones slipped on the exit of turn 4. That allowed Butterbean to get to his outside, and now they're 3 wide momentarily. Butterbean to the lead. Here comes Ronnie Bassett to the inside. The Lexington, North Carolina native looking for his first win as we approach 5 laps to go.
5 laps to go. Ronnie Bassett Jr. looks to have something for the 0-3 of Butterbean, going to reel it in. He's going to approach the backside as when we get to these closing laps here. Back straightaway, sails off into 3 and 4 to the back bumper of Butterbean.
To the bumper he goes, Ronnie Bassett with just a nudge on the exit of turn 4 to the inside of Butterbean. He goes, Bassett, Butterbean, door to door down the back straightaway.
Door to door, 3 laps to go. We have the best of the best, the 0-3, the 0-4 side by side. Bassett a little bit loose though. Connor Jones hoping to take advantage.
That slip could be really, really big because that gave Butterbean not only the track position, but a gap of maybe just a car length. That might be all he needs. There might be one more charge here for Ronnie Bassett as they come to 2 laps to go at the stripe.
He's going to have to be strategic in order to take it away from this 0-3, who's had the momentum. He's played the strategy perfectly. Ronnie Bassett dives down deep into the inside of turn 2. He's going to do the same move as before. Turns 3 and 4, nose down to the inside. He's going to go to peak and blocked by Butterbean.
He slid to the outside. White flag here at New River All-American Speedway. One more opportunity for Ronnie Bassett to make something happen to the inside. He goes down the back straightaway to the bumper. He goes Butterbean to the inside. He goes up the racetrack. They bounce off of one another and slide up the racetrack. And Brendan Butterbean Queen will hold on in a thriller of a finish to go to victory lane in the Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals, and go back to victory lane in the Solid Rock Carriers Car Store for the first time since North Wilkesboro Speedway back in May. And he backs up the victory in the Battle of the Stars earlier here in March. It's his second big late model stock car race win here. And yet again, the driver out of Chesapeake, Virginia, who knows this kind of climate so well, plays it perfectly at the end and just about hung on. He was sideways, as was Ronnie Bassett coming out of the final corner, and they hung on to maintain first and second and third there. Connor Jones was in the mix too, as you see the traditional celebration for Butterbean. Anytime he wins, you will see an American flag fly out of the driver's window. So
Butterbean going to take an opportunity to celebrate here before he heads to Edelbrock Victory Lane, and we'll see whether or not it's a burnout or whether or not he decides to do a Polish victory lap. Might get creative here and see something that we haven't done before. No one's done here. In the grass, I think, is the answer to that question, is he'll slide his way back around and then come up to the fence and show his appreciation to the fans who came out to see a thrilling finish here at New River All-American Speedway, all up to the fans over in turn 4. A lot of them who decided to just tailgate and park their cars out on corner exit, and they had the best view for that finish out of anybody, because all of that action between Ronnie Bassett and Brendan Queen happened right in front of them. So imagine you got your money's worth for that ticket if you were over in the exit of turn 4. He'll come down the back straightaway, give a nod to some of the folks who were parked over in turn 2. Good trackside crowd here all the way around at New River All-American Speedway. Really, really fun place to race, and a lot of fans here on hand to see a fabulous, fabulous finish for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. And then eventually, when Brendan Queen makes it back to the front straightaway, he will head to Edelbrock Victory Lane, where Jacqueline Drake will be waiting to talk with our winner. And it should be a very, very entertaining interview at that, because I know Butterbean is not short for words. One of the most talkative drivers in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, and no doubt he'll have plenty to say about how that finish panned out and what it means to him and how much fun they may have. And maybe we'll get his Waffle House order as well. That's also a tradition of Brendan Queen. When he wins, he goes to Waffle House. And I know we've seen him around the track over the last few months, and he's told us directly, he's like, man, I want another Waffle House trip at some point, because it's been a little bit. Well, duck is broken tonight, and the Jacksonville Waffle House, I think, is going to have a pretty famous guest here when we get all packed up and everybody can get out of the racetrack and they can make their way. I'll be curious to see if there's going to be some more chocolate milk involved as well. That's another tradition of Brendan Queen's when he heads to Victory Lane. As you see everybody gather around there, and Jacqueline Drake is down there ready to go with our race winner, Brendan Queen.
Down here in Victory Lane with Brennan Butterbean Queen, who just took home the Carolina 125 victory here at New River All-American Speedway. He's down here in Edelbrock Victory Lane. He's going to get the Hoosier Tire neckband. You see that American flag flying outside of his car, which we talked about earlier, how that's a tradition with this team and with Butterbean throughout the course of his racing career. Man, down here in Victory Lane, the energy is high. Everybody's so excited as he's going to come out of the car. Race fans, put your hands together. Brennan Butterbean Queen.
I thank you all so much for coming to New River All-American Speedway.
Brennan Butterbean Queen here. We're going to receive congratulations.
Undefeated here. Undefeated here. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Brennan, congratulations, taking home a huge win at New River. Lee Poyam's going to tell him congrats as well, his car owner.
That's my dirt driving, boy. Come here, boy.
Emotions are high down here. Brennan, you're receiving congratulations all around, and you put on a really great show there. Brandon Pierce is going to come over his teammate, but walk me through that final moment and the contact you had with Ronnie Bassett.
I knew it was coming. They were just a little bit better than us at the end. We kind of felt like I went a little hard early, but I felt like track position was going to be so big tonight. We took off and we were catching the 44, but we needed that caution. But then I was actually mad about the caution because I thought I was going to lose second. This team needed it. We've been second, like Lee said, at Hampton Heat, I don't know how many times, and had so many of these races slip away, and I wasn't going to let them take it away from me that time. I wanted it bad. We've been hungry, especially with the points deal. We know we just got to win, and that's what we're here to do. I had to be good for the fans. I mean, that's a bad-to-the-bone finish right there. Been a while since we had a waffle. So I think y'all know where we're going tonight. But what a race. Testament to Doug Powers and this whole 03 team. Lee Poyam Performance, David West Engines, Hedgecock Chassis, BestRepair.net, Mincy's Graphics, LeithCars.com, Old School Video Games. The Lord for blessing us. We had to put our dog down this morning. I wasn't home, so it's been a rough day, and you know, just don't fix that, but it makes things better. Just got to thank the man above. Obviously, Car Store for giving us a great series to race in. We got Old Glory flying tonight. That's always a good night. I'm sure I forget somebody. It's been a while since we won one of these, but we're going to enjoy it and get ready to go chase a clock in a couple of weeks.
Condolences to your dog, but congratulations here on a big win. You say that you struggled a little bit, but you did take home one of the biggest wins on the series books, which is the North Wilkesboro. How bad, though, slipping by just a few races here, did you want this win tonight? And does it really make it feel complete on your season, even though you've had a lot of Crown Jewel wins?
This is big. You know, we won at Wilkesboro, and then we've let Dominion slip away. Tri-County, we ran out of gas leading. Florence, we were close earlier this year with a second. Just so many nights, led a lot of laps at Ace and finished fifth. And nobody's going to outwork Lee Pulliam. Nobody. I'm telling you, this dude every week asks me what I need to win, and he goes to work on it. This whole Lee Pulliam organization. I got to thank all the guys that helped me tonight. There's too many to name. We got the whole organization down here. So the whole LPP organization, I love them like family, and I'm glad to let me come in like this year and be a part of it.
Brennan Butterbean Queen taking home the Carolina 125 victory tonight.
A big, big win for Brendan Queen, who needed that after the way the last few races slipped away, like he said. But I did get confirmation. There's a Waffle House visit in line for him and everybody with Lee Pulliam Performance. So it could be a busy one. Could be a late one for that group, but I'm sure they won't mind it as he gets the opportunity, as per tradition in Edelbrock Victory Lane, to put on a second winner sticker just above the B post for his victory tonight here at New River All-American Speedway. We just got to make sure that the rail's cleaned off and ready to go, so that sticker will stay, because the next time we go race against South Boston, it'll be a little bit of added decor to the top of that 0-3 machine as he tries to hunt down Carson Quapple in the standings and get his way back. You see Kaylee Domensky, Jack McNally with the Car Store coming in to congratulate Brendan Queen as well. A whole host of people down in Edelbrock Victory Lane here celebrating with the driver of the 0-3, the bestrepair.net Toyota of Brendan Queen, and could be there we go, a big old explosion there in Victory Lane as they celebrate and enjoy their second victory in the Solid Rock Carriers Car Store in a late model stock competition for 2023. Well, let's head back down to Jacqueline Drake, who is with our runner-up driver.
Right beside me here, we have our second place finisher this evening, Connor Jones. You had quite a different strategy from several of the drivers. You were able to make your way up fairly quickly, leading some laps. What was going through your mind, though, with only 5 to go and the caution flag flew?
I knew I had to get a good restart. Spotter told me all Butterbean's times compared to mine, and I knew he was going to be pretty good. And obviously we didn't need caution. Kind of screwed our race up. But overall, Mike Darn brought us a really, really good car. Just ended the night a little too tight. I think we burned it up towards the end.
Well, good job to you finishing on the podium tonight. Great work here at New River, as we'll make our way over to our third place finisher in just a moment.
And that will be Ronnie Bassett Jr., who is the other half of that wild, wild battle. Be very curious to hear what he has to say about his half of the last few laps with Butterbean. I know that there is a tale that will be told by the Lexington, North Carolina driver, and lots of thoughts there. It's another podium finish for Ronnie Bassett. A second one in as many races. What you consider he was on the podium at Wake County Speedway a few weeks ago as well. But no doubt he wanted the victory and wanted to make it happen. So let's go down to Ronnie Bassett, who is with Jacqueline Drake.
Down here with our third place finisher tonight of Ronnie Bassett Jr. The look on your face really says it all. You had that one, and it slipped right through your fingers. Walk me through what was going through your mind there as you approach the start-finish line.
Yeah, we had a really good car there at the end. These guys did a heck of a job all weekend. That's what we planned for, was to be there at the end of the race. And we were there. We just come up short again. Man, it's on me. just got a little too desperate, and just got to clean it up and get around in there a little quicker. But all in all, it was, I guess you say, a good weekend. It's in one piece, so we can get it ready and for Martinsville here in a couple weeks.
Great finish by you tonight. Even though you didn't get the win, you were there at the end. Ronnie Bassett Jr. going to bring it home in third place. He's had 3 top 5 so far this season and 5 top 10s for Bassett Racing.
Ronnie Bassett Jr. rounds out the podium for tonight's Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals here at New River All-American Speedway for the late model stock cars of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. A reminder that, one, we've got more racing for the Car Store coming up in a few weeks. Everybody will head to Martinsville for the Valley Star Credit Union 300 in 2 weeks' time. But a few weeks after that, we head to South Boston Speedway, October 7th. Going to be a fun one there, as always, for the annual trip of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour with the late model stock cars, the pro late models, and a new era for South Boston. New GM Brandon Brown, veteran of motorsports marketing and communications, taken over just a few weeks ago. So we're going to have a lot of fun and more racing coming up here too at New River All-American Speedway. We'll have that on the other side of this break as you watch coverage from New River here on Flow Racing. Welcome back to New River All-American Speedway and Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals night here at Jacksonville's Action Attraction. We're just outside of Jacksonville, North Carolina, near Camp Lejeune, base of the United States Marines, and what a wild, wild finish. As tends to be the case in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, we had another one for the highlight reels as Brendan Butterbean Queen goes to victory lane for the second time in 2023 and wins not only the big race here at the beginning of the year, he wins the Cars Tour race here at the back end of this year. So you could effectively call it a big race late model sweep at New River All-American Speedway for Brendan Queen. James Pike here alongside Jacqueline Drake. And Jacqueline, I would like to try and give you a few opportunities to catch your breath, but we've got more racing to come because there are 2 more shows on the docket this evening that we're going to bring you live on Flow Racing. And the first one, or the most entertaining ones, the Bombers, are coming up next.
Yeah, definitely. We have a few more races left to go, but man, I'm still trying to catch my breath over what we just saw there between Ronnie Bassett and Brendan Butterbean Queen that took home the win. Ronnie down there completely ejected. He said, man, I thought we saved enough and we had enough, and he was kind of hard on himself. But coming up, we have Martinsville, and that is where and what's up ahead, that big Martinsville race that's going to happen, the Valley Star Credit Union 300. The late model stocks will now set their eyes on taking home one of the most historic and nostalgic trophies in all of motorsports, taking home a Martinsville clock. So there's plenty of crown jewel events left to go in the late model stocks throughout the East Coast, all the places that they can go. But tonight here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, we have the Bombers, the Legend Cars. The night is not over.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not. Oh, by the way, Martinsville, guess what? Yes, there's the grandfather clock that you win, but $125,000 $100,000 purse. The richest late model stock car race ever.
That's a good check.
That's
a good check.
I say no more, I think. So now we'll turn our attention to the Bombers here. Oh, by the way, you can also catch that on Flow Racing too, just while we're at it. But Bombers. I love these cars so much because I think, and you raced more than I did growing up, so maybe you have a little bit more experience that you can offer on this. But if I were a racer, I feel like this is the kind of car I'd love to run. Maybe just because I have an affinity for four-cylinder engine cars anyway. But, these things, it's just high torque, high RPMs, way up on the gas pedal. They're not big engines, but they make enough power to get these things around, and then you get to slug around these bodies too. I feel like these things have to be an absolute blast to drive. What do you think, Jacqueline?
You should go and drive one of these.
I probably should.
You can go do that.
Right?
Yeah, you can go up to Bowman Gray and I think they're called compact cars there. You can go jump into one of these. Heck,
stadium stocks, right?
Yeah, stadium stocks. You could even do a good old chain race where they chain two of these together. The car in the front has the gas, the car in the back has the brake. There's lots of options whenever it comes to these cars. You can go run these on dirt. Seen them on dirt. They get a little bit dicey on dirt.
Oh yeah, no. I need to get to Seaboard dirt racing. It'd be fun to see these on dirt.
Well, why don't you just come on down sometime to old Tulsa, Oklahoma? I go every year to the Chili Bowl Nationals, and I'll show you the best dirt show.
Earmarks. Which, guess what? Another show that you can see
on Flow.
Live on Flow. We're hitting the bingo card for all of them. So if anybody, I don't know, does that count as like 072 now or something like that?
It's everything.
It's everything?
Yeah.
So let's take a moment here, and we will go to break and then be back with the Bomber feature at New River All-American Speedway live on Flow Racing. Welcome back to New River All-American Speedway in Jacksonville, North Carolina for Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals night here at Jacksonville's Action Attraction. James Pike, Jacqueline Drake, ready to bring you the back half of our program for the evening. The Bomber cars are going to be up and after it in a few moments as you see Flow Racing's Matthew Dillner interviewing Brendan Queen in Edelbrock Victory Lane. Queen with his second victory of the season here in 2023 in Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour competition. But the Bombers, a pretty stout field, 12 Bomber cars that are going to go racing, and I got to look at them in practice, and I think the biggest thing, maybe it's just me, but when I think of late models like these that you see on your screen at Martinsville, I think of how much, at least last year, they tended to slide on corner exit, and the Bombers, to me, just look like they were sliding around all over the place. And when I say all over the place, I mean literally everywhere on the racetrack because the tires just aren't as big. They don't have as much grip. So that's part of the challenge of it as a driver. It's not easy to get all of that rubber to harness the power that you have. Even if they are four-cylinder engines, it's not easy to get all that power to the pavement and make it work in an efficient way.
Yeah, I don't know about these cars. I haven't taken a close-up look to the Bombers, but a lot of times Bombers are running treaded tires, which can cause a lot of that slipping and sliding. Legend cars are another car that does that, where they run treaded tires. And it feels a little bit like ice. You're sliding around on ice. And as we see that, Brennan Butterbean Queen's going to take his final parade lap out into turn 4 and turn it into pit road to take it off to Tech. after taking home another win.
Also, we'll say, for those who follow the Solid Rock Carriers car store, you'll know that Solid Rock Carriers owner Kirk Ipock is a fixture at just about all of these races. And I was surprised. I hadn't seen him yet before this moment, but I just saw him walking out of victory lane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I should have known that Kirk was going to be here in some way, shape, or form. So, apologies that I ever doubted him.
They have a suite, actually, in the building we're at. We're kind of situated right at the start-finish line. There's a building to the left of us. They have a suite up there, and they're just having a good old time. I saw them standing outside the suite, waving around, cheersing, and supporting all the drivers that they support here and have supported in the series, and even drivers up into the truck series and Xfinity series. So they have a lot of drivers underneath their portfolio. And the Bombers, now they've taken track.
Yeah, if you're having a bad day, go find Kirk Ipock on a car store race day, and your mood will instantly be lifted because he's always got a smile on his face. He loves being at these racetracks when it's the car store or when it's these local divisions, because he just loves good racing like we do. So we've got the Bombers here. Let's take you through the starting grid and tell you where your favorite driver will begin this Bomber feature. To start this race, pole sitter, the number 14 out of Hubert, North Carolina, Eddie Humphrey starts on the inside of row 1 to his outside, starting second out of Jacksonville, North Carolina, number 83 of Robert Drum.
Starting second row inside from Jacksonville, North Carolina, it's Haley Brown. And outside from Jacksonville, North Carolina as well, the number 3 of Andrew Jackson.
In the 5th position, inside of row 3, another Jacksonville native driving the 77, it's Richard Smith. And 6th out of Swansboro, North Carolina, driving the 17, it's Brian Gooden.
Starting 4th row inside from Jacksonville, North Carolina, it's the number 88 of Dale Drum. And outside from Gear, South Carolina, it's the 01 of Dannon Esco.
Michael Withrow from Jacksonville in the 34 machine starts 9th. To his outside, Dominic Baez out of Richlands, North Carolina, driving the 79, starts 10th.
Rounding out the field in the 6th row, you have Timothy Brown to that inside from Jacksonville in the number 11. And rounding us completely out, Greenville, South Carolina native, the 01H of Robert Hall.
12 cars ready to do battle here at New River All-American Speedway in this Bomber feature. You've got all sorts of old bodies all over the place of cars that I quite frankly remember growing up as a kid seeing driving down the highway, and they've been repurposed into race cars, which if we're giving cars new life, that feels like a pretty appropriate way to do it. You know, if they might not be so useful on regular streets, turn them into a race car, right? Make them work. Doesn't matter. It's. I think Parker Kligerman said it, who qualified for the Xfinity Series playoffs today, no less, by the way. So had a good day out in Kansas. But he said, if it's got 4 wheels and an engine, it's a race car somehow. That's sort of the same way I look at these cars here. 2 laps to go before we get the green flag. Now 1 lap to go before we get the green flag. This race will go for 25 laps around the 4/10 mile. That is New River All-American Speedway, and one of the most stacked fields, the biggest field we have so far out of any of the local divisions that have raced this evening, and a pretty good points battle as well for these Bombers. Similar picture to the champ cards that we had, where Andrew Jackson will clinch once he takes the green flag and completes the lap, and Robert Drum is the driver on the bubble. If he can win, he'll lock himself in. If we get a repeat winner, he's in. If we get a new winner, that changes the picture together as we go green flag racing. The Bombers are underway at New River All-American Speedway, and immediately look at the jump Eddie Humphrey gets by about a car length or 2. Battle here for second between the 3 machine of Andrew Jackson and 1 car to the outside. That's the 83 of Robert Drum.
Side by side already on lap 1, the number 14 of Eddie Humphrey continuing to lead the way as there's a battle just behind him. The number 3 is going to reel him in just a little bit. That's Andrew Jackson, followed by the 3rd place of the 83 of Robert Drum.
This is an absolute mess in the best of ways here. And looking on the bottom right portion of your screen, way further back in this field, they are door to door to door to door to door as the leaders have separated themselves from this group. This is about 4th or 5th on back that you're looking at on your screens, and everybody fighting for track position as best they can, while Humphrey, Andrew Jackson, and Robert Drum run off the front.
The 0-1 of Dan and Esco is going to look to the inside of that 88 of Dale Drum, going to complete the pass. As we look side by side, we have screens, battle for the lead on the left side, and further on back to the field, 6th, 7th, and 8th on the right.
They have separated themselves just a bit in the back, but we'll turn our attention back to the front, where there's a very, very big carrot on the end of the stick for Robert Drum in particular, the third-place driver. We talked about it just a few moments ago. He is currently inside the top 8 in points and would make the Bomber playoffs here at New River All-American Speedway as stands. But if he can win, that will automatically lock him in. So he's got incentive to try and go get the lead and make this happen as we look a little bit further back and see this battle just a touch back. Richard Smith, Haley Brown, Dale Drum, all fighting for spots on the back half of the top 5.
Side by side now, the number 5 of Haley Brown on the inside, the number 77 of Richard Smith. Richard Smith's going to take a little bit, all the way up to the wall, to the outside, and try to complete the pass by Haley Brown.
I believe if this were Jeopardy, the answer would be, what is momentum?
I think he has wings on the back of that, too.
Perhaps,
look at that.
perhaps.
Batman.
Well, wings, but I don't think it's an actual wing. I think it's just the braces of a wing.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. We love that.
No actual spoiler, just the wings.
Just the frame there. Yeah, so we could stick a wing there. I don't know if it would help him, though, with the way he's carrying that outside. I think the idea is, if you run the inside, you can run the inside on me, Richard Smith, but I'm just going to keep my foot in the floor and maintain momentum and stay alongside you, and you can have that bottom lane all you want. Isn't working out quite as well as he'd like, though. Look at this crossover that he'll try to pull on Haley Brown. Haley Brown will take the spot for the moment, but Richard Smith is still there, ready to make a move.
Haley Brown, 2 wins so far this year, already locked into the playoffs, so no need to push it as we have a cutoff, as you spoke to earlier. We're now looking at the number 14 leader, Eddie Humphrey, and Andrew Jackson right behind him, who's now reeled him into the back bumper.
I think Robert Drum would love nothing more than to see these two go at it, get into each other, get underneath both of them, take the race lead, and lock himself into the playoffs here at New River All-American Speedway. He could clinch with a win. He would love that sort of walk-off sort of moment if he can get it. Andrew Jackson, however, doesn't have as much to race for because with his start tonight, he has clinched a position in the playoffs. He has 1 victory and has assured himself a place in the last 8. So this is all about Robert Drum, the last driver trying to find his way into the playoffs, sitting in 3rd there on the upper right or upper left-hand portion of your screen there. Meanwhile, battle yet again continuing to rage between Haley Brown and Richard Smith for 4th and 5th. That's on the right-hand portion of your screen.
Side by side on the right side right there. They've been racing clean side by side, switching it around, going back and forth between the 5 and the 77. Nice work by them. The leader now pulling away, Eddie Humphrey, just a little bit over Andrew Jackson. 3 wins so far this season for him. Not the most out of the field. 2 other drivers have had more than 3 wins. Kevin Wren and Hunter Brown both have got 4 wins this season in this division. This time by, though, we have 12 laps to go in this feature event.
Oh, smoke there coming out of one machine a little bit further back, and that is going to be problematic, I believe. Let's see if we can get a read on who that may be, but trouble there brewing for one driver in this field. That car will pull off to the inside. Meanwhile, the battle continues between Humphrey and Jackson, and Robert Drum hasn't really gained on these two, but he's not left this battle. He's still just sitting about a car length and a half back of these two, waiting for them potentially to get together, because again, if he can get past both of them, he can lock himself into the playoffs and win his way in right here, right now, at the end of this race this evening.
Robert Hall, the 01H, is the car that we saw smoke coming from. He's pulled down into pit road and has retired for the evening. 10 laps to go, though. We're continuing to see this battle right here for the lead. The 83 of Robert Drum, this is what he wants to see. This is going to give him enough time and momentum to pull it up to the front 2 cars and try to get this win and clinch himself into the playoff.
Oh, a little slide on the racetrack from Andrew Jackson there. He almost got it to Eddie Humphrey, but he's gotten to the inside of Humphrey. This is our first proper lead change that we may see if Jackson can complete the pass entering turn 3. What will Humphrey do? He'll slide in just behind Jackson, and Jackson completes the pass, move the 3 machine up to the front inside of the last 10 laps of this bomber feature.
Looks like the number 14 of Eddie Humphrey going to lose a little bit of momentum as the 3 of Jackson pulls away. But don't look now, Robert Drum reeling into the back of the 14, but lap traffic's going to affect that just a little bit.
Lap traffic definitely beginning to get in the way here. You see 4th place, that's Richard Smith, starting to reel in this trio of leaders. I wonder if he may have saved something a little bit further back. This is Dale Drum and Dannon Esco fighting for 6th and 7th. Really good battle here down the back straightaway into turn 3. Esco to the outside, Drum to the inside.
Dale Drum also in a position where he must win for the playoffs, so he's probably hoping for a little bit of a caution flag right here to bunch the field back up. He's currently sitting in 6th place. It's a little bit further back as we go into the closing lap. 6 laps to go, this time by
Dale Drum had to check out big time, caught the lap machine of Michael Withrow and just caught him right on corner exit, about the worst place you can imagine. So Esco was able to crawl up to his outside down the back straightaway, trying to hold that track position in 1 and 2 this next time by, but can't stay alongside Drum as they almost smack the fence. Meanwhile, battle for the race lead on the left-hand portion of your screen. Again, all eyes on the leaders, and then the 83, that 3rd car in line, the old Toyota Celica of Robert Drum on the outside of this battle here and on the fringes of it. And the last person inside the bubble for the Bomber playoffs at New River All-American, coming to 3 laps to go this time by.
Andrew Jackson probably looking at the rear view mirror right now, getting an eye full of Eddie Humphrey, who's hoping he makes a mistake in these closing laps. That 14 is fast. He's all over the back bumper. Any mistake the 3 makes, the 14's hoping to take advantage. We're going to head to the start-finish line now. 2 laps to go.
How much do you try and change lanes? How much do you try and switch lines? How much do you try and throw Andrew Jackson off if you're Eddie Humphrey? We saw a little bit of a different line in 1 and 2 that last time by. He's going to run up on the fence or get down to the inside, try and get a good run through the center of the corner, and maybe draw even with Andrew Jackson coming to the white flag. 1 more lap here at New River All-American Speedway in the Bomber class. Jackson still in control of this, and Eddie Humphrey will have 1 last shot in 3 and 4 to try and take away the lead from Andrew Jackson. Down to the center of the corner they go. He tries to get on the rear bumper, but just misses it. Won't have enough time. Andrew Jackson makes his way to victory lane and goes in as a 2-time winner this season at New River All-American Speedway. And Robert Drum, by virtue of the fact that we have another repeat winner, will be the last driver into the Bomber playoffs here at New River All-American Speedway. So Hunter Brown, Kevin Wren, Nathan Hall, Eddie Humphrey, Haley Brown, Richard Smith, Andrew Jackson, and Robert Drum. The 8 that entered this evening inside the playoff cutoff for the Bombers are the ones that exit this evening as the 8 that make the field. The only difference, Andrew Jackson now joins Haley Brown as a 2-time winner this season in Bomber competition at Jacksonville's Action Attraction. Big race there, and a really nice piece of defense more than anything else from Andrew Jackson to maintain track position. He was able to take away the lead from Eddie Humphrey early, who started on pole, and those 2 stayed up front pretty much all night long. He started in 4th, got to 2nd quickly, and then put the moves on Humphrey and stayed up front through the entire race, and with a big old whip will slide it into victory lane here at New River All-American Speedway. Gets the job done, and we'll have the opportunity to chat with Jacqueline Drake in just a few moments as we'll let friends and family get on out to victory lane to go celebrate with our podium finishers, Andrew Jackson, Eddie Humphrey, and Robert Drum. 1, 2, and 3 this evening here at New River All-American Speedway. You see the fans and the families begin to trickle out as you get a good look at Action Jackson. You see the name on the name rail there. He was ready for a show tonight, I think, with a nickname like that. And he'll have the opportunity to unbuckle the helmet and take off the protective gear and then get out and celebrate and chat with Jacqueline in just a few moments. As gets the 5-point harness undone after a hard fought battle with Eddie Humphrey to find a way into victory lane here at New River All-American Speedway. But he got the job done, led the most laps, won the race, 2nd win of the year. A good night all around for Andrew Action Jackson. Let's go down trackside to Jacqueline Drake, who's with our race winner.
Out of the car is going to come the number 3 of Andrew Jackson. Taking home your second win of the season, Action Jackson to the roof of that 3. Going to receive congratulations from fellow competitors. Water in the air. Andrew, nice work tonight, able to hold off the lead and take home another win in the Bombers division here at New River All-American Speedway. What was the key to your success and be able to hold off the other competitors?
Shoot, I mean, he was right there the whole time. I mean, he was there. I felt like that was a great race. I felt like the tires were going out towards the end. If we'd have had a couple more laps, I don't know what we would have had, but I think we stayed right there under the 20.5 rule and just gave it everything we had. I'm beat. I mean, I've drove a lot of races, but that one, he had me go for that one. That's for sure.
Eddie Humphrey was right behind you. Even coming close into your car, you can smell the tire and the rubber burning just a little bit. How often were you looking back in that mirror, though, just to see how close he was in the closing laps?
I could see the whole time. It got a pretty big mirror. I could see him right there. I mean, I couldn't see his hood. I could see his windshield, so I knew he was really close. He got there right at the end. I would have done the same thing, tried to move me out of the way. But good thing we had a handle on the car, and we drove it here. I'd like to thank Modern Tire Service, Joey Hudler. He's right here. This guy, he lets me drive his car, and I'm thankful for it. And then all his guys that work there, if anything happens to it, they work on the car and fix it. Man, it takes a lot of stress off of me, and it's awesome. I can't thank them enough. But thank the fans for coming out, and it was a great show. I'm glad I got to participate in it.
Not only did you clinch a spot in the playoffs just by starting, but you added a win on top of that. Put your hands together, race fans, one more time. The number 3 of Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson in victory lane here at New River All-American Speedway. And you can tell he fought for that one and definitely was pretty well worn out of it by the time all things were done and dusted. Let's go back to Jacqueline Drake, who's with our runner-up finisher.
Trackside with our second place finisher, the number 14 of Eddie Humphrey. 3 wins so far this season. You almost made it 4. What else did you need?
To be able to race him hard. The whole race, but that's what it is. We have in case you don't know, we have a lap time rule here, and you gotta try to stay under it or above it, and that's a pretty tough thing to do for 25 laps. So I think we made it to 24 without breaking out, so we went for it on the last lap, just weren't enough. It was a lot of fun, though. Actually got to battle for a lap, and rub a little bit with Andrew. He's such a good driver, and he done everything right, and we're in second place.
Congratulations, Eddie Humphrey, going to bring it home in second place. And we'll make our way over to our third place finisher. We got word up from track control that originally it was Robert Drum, but he's been disqualified. So we have a third place finisher of Richard Smith. We'll catch up with him. The number 77, all smiles on your face. Look at you. What is your thoughts with finishing on podium tonight? It seemed to be a little unexpected.
Not necessarily unexpected. It's just we've worked our butts off this year trying to get this thing from where it was to a car that works, and we've been constantly getting better and better, and it's starting to pay off real good. And we've been up here a number of times in the past couple months, and it feels good, and I just want to get up there.
Well, only 2 more spots to go, and you can make it up to first place. What more do you need, though, just to make that 77 a little bit better and compete with these guys?
Keep doing better myself, keep improving me. The car's hooked up. I can pretty much put it in any lane I want to and just fly around the track. It's just I got to take care of it a little better on track to keep up with them.
Well, great work by you tonight. The number 77 of Richard Smith going to bring it home in third place.
There's your podium of the Bomber class feature tonight. Thanks to Jacqueline Drake for her work down trackside to catch up with all three of our finishers. Let's go to one more commercial break here, and we will return with Legends action on Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals night at New River All-American Speedway. We'll have more action for you on Flow Racing on the other side of this break. Welcome back to New River All-American Speedway in Jacksonville, North Carolina for Carolina 125, presented by Milam Equipment Rentals night here at Jacksonville's Action Attraction. Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour battled for 125 laps earlier this evening. Brendan Queen got the victory. We've got one more feature for you this evening. Legend Cars will race for 30 laps around this 4/10 of a mile facility. James Pike and Jacqueline Drake here, ready to bring you all the action for this final race of the evening, and a big feature coming our way here. You've got 12 Legends drivers that are ready to rock and roll. Jacqueline ready to close out the night with a pretty good shower of fireworks, I bet, because we should see a good chunk of them on track.
Yeah, definitely. We have the Legend cars up, a 12-car field, and we just saw the Legend cars compete out at Florence last Friday. And on a track of this size, it becomes quite a show to see these guys sail around a big short track. It's a big short track when it comes to Legend cars, right? Sail around this facility. So I'm looking forward to seeing it and see exactly how they handle specifically turns 1 and 2 and those elevation changes that we talk about. We'll see the front straightaway now clearing off. The Bombers are now off the front straightaway, and we'll bring the Legends out in just a moment and get started for this 30-lap feature event.
A really deep field for the Legends. Let's go ahead and give you the starting grid before they roll off here while we've got a moment. We'll start off with our pole sitter, Aiden McConaughey out of Jacksonville, North Carolina, driving the number 71 machine. To the outside of Aiden, it'll be Tyler Gonzalez from Orlando, Florida, driving the 91. That is row number 1.
Row number 2 from Orlando, Florida, on the inside, you'll have the number 7. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing now, James.
Bunn, North Carolina is what you meant.
Yeah, Bunn, North Carolina. You'll have the number 7 of Levi Canup. And to that outside from Chesapeake, Virginia, you have Aaron Linsky.
We've had one Chesapeake, Virginia native win tonight in Brendan Queen. Aaron, I think, would love to have the same luck. Inside of row 3, starting 5th out of Bladenboro, North Carolina, the 9 machine of Brody Rhodes and Chase Singletary from Burgaw, North Carolina. Behind the wheel of the 75 will start 6th.
Starting in row number 4 from Garner, North Carolina, it's the number 83 of Caleb Day. And to that outside from Newport, North Carolina, it's the number 99 of Carson Gillikin, who we heard sing the national anthem earlier.
Double duty, sang the national anthem earlier tonight, and then gets in the car and races after. Scotty Benford out of Swansboro, North Carolina is in the 51. Scotty will start 9th. Mike Ridenour out of Jacksonville behind the wheel of the 14th will start 10th.
And rounding us out in row number 6 from Swansbury, North Carolina, the 51X, it's Chris Connor. And an outside from Fayetteville, North Carolina, it's the number 15 of Brian Shambram.
I think we might have had our first typo. Swansbury, Swansboro. Swansbury, Swansboro, Swansboro. Got to be a Beatles song, I bet, somewhere in all that, as the field begins to make their way over in the corners and get all grouped up and lined up here as we get set to rock and roll with 30 laps for the Legends cars.
Yeah, we've got the Legend cars stopped over in turns 3 and 4 as we have a bit of a medical emergency down in the infield, so the ambulance will need to take them outside the track and to where they need to be. So just a quick delay in this Legend car feature event.
But that all involved are okay as we have the Legend cars stop for just a second, and now we'll go back to pace laps here. So it's like medical team was able to get out, handle their business, and we can turn our attention back to the racing and back to the final feature of the evening. 30 laps for a fabulous battle, I would expect, here with the Legends cars. Of course, this is the other half of the program that we talked about earlier. Remember the bandos that raced second on our program? This is the other half of what U.S. Legends cars has created. And again, these cars designed for everybody to jump in and race it. And these cars, if anything, we talk about golf and tennis being sort of evergreen sports that you can play until you're 60, 70 years old. This is sort of the racing equivalent of that, because depending on what age you are, as we get 2 to go and as lights come off the pace car, there are so many different classes. You can run these about as young as 12, 13 years old. You can go all the way up to the Masters class. I've seen drivers compete in these cars that are 65, 70 years old. So it doesn't matter what age you are, you can drive a Legends car. And these particular machines have birthed the careers of so many drivers in the Cup Series nowadays. Anybody that's made it into the series in the past 30 years likely has been behind the wheel of one of these things. As the green flag flies in our last feature of the night, 30 laps here for the Legends cars are underway. And Aiden McConaughey jumps out in front. Tyler Gonzalez working to his outside. And then you see this train of people here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars pretty much right on top of one another, looking for track position as they work their way up the hill and down the front stretch for the first time. McConaughey clear by about 2/10 over Tyler Gonzalez the second, as you see the battle a little bit further back towards 5th.
Fiddling it off into the corner now. We're looking at the number 83 of Caleb Day to the inside there of the number 9 of Brody Rhodes. Just a little bit of battle early on here, 28 laps to go. And we've got them all over. It's like a beehive back here.
It is a beehive back here. No doubt about it. You see the 51, the 75, the 14, and the other 51. So we got 51 and the 51X all in the mix here. So it'll be Scotty Benford, Chase Singletary, and Chris Connor, Mike Ridenour near this fight, as well as they finally begin to settle it out, sort things out one way or another. Singletary at the center of that, then Ridenour just behind him. That's 9th, and then just further back of that, the 51X of Chris Connor in 10th.
Side by side, but they've ironed it out here as we have quite a ways to go. The 51. Oh, there we go. The leader right there, Aiden. The number 71 continuing to lead over Tyler Gonzalez, followed by Levi Knupp.
McConaughey, Gonzalez, Knupp, your top 3, all separated by about, call it, 6/10, 7/10 of a second at the stripe last time by. And then you throw in Aaron Linsky in 4th, and those 4 have created a gap to Caleb Day, who himself is going to be in a pretty good fight here with Brody Rhodes. Emphasis on Brody, because my brain immediately went to WWE superstar Cody Rhodes, who was a fabulous guest on the Dale Jr. Download, the official podcast. So part owner of the Solid Rock Carriers car store, Dale Earnhardt Jr. So didn't think we'd have a tie-in that way that worked, but hey, here we are, right? Good battle for the lead, though, beginning to separate, though, as McConaughey's really putting down some fast lap times. The last few laps over, he's been a 10th quicker than Tyler Gonzalez at the stripe.
A little further back, getting a little bit sideways there for our third place of Levi Knupp. Excuse me, that's the 51 of Scotty Benford, who got a little bit of sideways. Now we're looking at 5th, 6th, and 7th right there. The number 9 of Brody Rhodes going to close the gap just a little bit behind Caleb Day and see what he can do. 21 laps to go. Could be saving just a little bit, but going to close in that gap, try to get to the back bumper and see what he can do. The number 51 right behind him, Scotty Benford, watching to see that number 9, seeing where he can capitalize if he can get to the back bumper and freight train the 83 of Day.
There is the aforementioned Brody Rhodes, Caleb Day, Scotty Benford. This is now the best battle on the racetrack by a good margin. We talked about how Brody Rhodes was able to reel in Caleb Day over the last few laps or so. Day has fallen off the pace of that Linsky, Knupp, Gonzalez, McConaughey group, and you see them work their way down the front stretch now. This is all happening a little bit further back of the race lead. It's about 5 seconds off of the race lead, so there is some space here. But a really good battle as you see Scotty Benford get to the inside of Brody Rhodes and take over the 6th position, now looking to the outside of Day to try and get the 5th spot and that last place in the top 5.
Scotty Benford making his way through the field quite nicely. He has 3 wins this year at Carteret County Speedway, not too far away from where he lives, Swansboro, North Carolina. He's going to work on the back bumper of that number 83 of Day, see what he can do inside or outside. You don't really see the legend cars take as much of an outside line as we saw with the late models. A little bit sketchy for them, and all that rubber from the late models is now out to the outside. Might get a little bit sideways. The number 7 we're looking at, Levi Knupp, though, is going to get passed right now by the number 2B of Aaron Linsky.
So Linsky's had some long run pace and has managed to reel in Knupp and pass him. That's been about a 10th or so the last few laps, so not a huge shocker then that Linsky's been able to pull that back in. The problem is that these two are still a solid 3 seconds back of Aiden McConaughey for the race lead and 2 seconds back of Tyler Gonzalez for second. So first and second really have started to race at a world of their own, and then you have this battle just a bit further back for 3rd and 4th, and then you still have that knot between Benford and Day and Singletary and Brody Rhodes and all of that mess from 5th on back.
Looks like, is this problems for the number 51 down to the inside? It's Benford. We just saw him get lapped. I wonder if he's going to come down to pit road here. He's completely off the pace. That was odd.
Keep an eye on that and see if that develops any further. Meanwhile, continuing to watch the battle between Linsky and Levi Knupp on the racetrack here, right around our halfway point, just past it actually. 13 laps to go of the 30 that were scheduled originally. So we're going to way towards the final third of this race, and these two that you see, Linsky and Knupp, represent one of the best battles on the racetrack. A little bit further back, you've got Chase Singletary and Brody Rhodes up there fighting for 7th and 8th. I'm fighting to say Brody, not Cody, a lot. No doubt about it.
You've already tricked yourself now.
Yeah, I've done it in for myself, no doubt about it. But Brody's just, I feel like that car in particular has faded as this race has progressed. He was able to make it up into the top 5 early on in this race, and then just has not been able to maintain the same level of speed in the back half of this. So, sort of a microcosm of what we saw with Logan Clark.
Yeah.
There we go. Earlier in the race, who led the first 2 stints and then fell off in that last one. Sort of the same thing, I think, happening with Brody Rhodes here in the Legends feature.
Yeah, and Brody Rhodes starting in 5th, now currently sitting in 8th place. So definitely has fallen back just a little bit from where he started. Hopefully he can hold on here with only 9 laps to go. We have moved through this Legend feature so quick. And now we're looking at your leader, Aiden McConaughey. 2 wins so far this season, looking for his 3rd. Jacksonville, North Carolina native in that 71. White and yellow, you can't miss it. Side by side now on Flow Racing. Leader to your left. And here we go. We have a battle going on. The number 7 of Levi Knupp. This is the battle for 3rd place.
That battle for 3rd continues to be one of the best, if not the best, on the racetrack, as Aiden McConaughey is clear by a second over Tyler Gonzalez. They sort of traded lap times the last few laps over, but just have not found a way to really separate themselves. So that gap is held. That's been consistent. That's why our eyes are on this, because we saw Aaron Linsky make the pass a few laps ago, but Canup has not left Linsky's rear bumper. So this likely is going down right to the checkered flag.
A little bit of stalking on the back bumper of that number 2B. Everything that Canup can do to close the gap in these final laps, he's going to do it. You have an advantage when you're the car that's behind the car. You can study the driver in front of you. You know how they're going to react. The number 2B, when you're in that position, you don't want to be looking at your mirror too much. You don't want to be mirror racing. You want to run your line and hit your marks. And this is when you get the pressure on as a driver. If you can continue to do so, knowing that they're right behind you, because you can hear the other car, you can feel them, you can see their shadows, you know they're coming, and that's a mistake you don't want to mess up. Aiden McConaughey going to take some lap traffic here, but continuing to hold a 2.3 second lead over Tyler Gonzalez.
Working to 2 laps to go, and you make a good point. If you look in the rearview mirror too much and forget to race out the windshield, it can leave you a little bit more prone to making mistakes. I think anybody that's raced, whether or not it's real or virtual, that happens. That's a thing that you experience. So the more you can just lock in and hit your marks, best way to get fast lap times. That's what Aiden McConaughey has done the entire Legends feature.
Absolutely. Aiden McConaughey won and did a good race right here. White flag this time by, continuing to lead. This number 71 has been quick all night down the back stretch. He goes, sails off into turns 3 and 4. Great execution up to the wall, to the start finish line. Aiden McConaughey taking home the Legend feature win.
Our second flag, 2-flag winner tonight in competition at New River All-American Speedway. A fabulous drive for Aiden McConaughey to go to victory lane, and Jacqueline will make her way down to chat with our podium in just a few moments as McConaughey dominates this Legends feature, the last race of the night here at New River All-American Speedway. So we'll be curious to see how well he was able to perform and what he thought about his race. Gonzalez was second, Aaron Linsky third. We'll chat with all of them in a few moments. Levi Canup fourth, Scotty Benford fifth, and Caleb Day finished in sixth. Chase Singletary seventh, Brody Rhodes was eighth, Mike Ridenour ninth, Carson Gillikin rounded out the top 10, Brian Shabram was 11th, and Chris Connor rounded out the 12-car field. He was the one, that 51 that we saw have problems. That was the one who ended up slowing and falling off the pace. He finished a little bit off of it, 2 laps down compared to our winner, Aiden McConaughey. So plenty of stories to tell, plenty of entertaining things that we'll keep our eyes on as Aiden McConaughey will have the opportunity to get out here and celebrate in front of what has been a great crowd tonight at New River All-American Speedway. They have showed up en masse and in force for a great night of racing, headlined by the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, but shared by really great races in the Champ Carts and the Bandoleros, the Legend Cars, and the Bombers. 5 races over the course of this evening at Jacksonville's Action Attraction. And if you've not had the chance to get out here, highly recommend it. A fabulous experience all weekend long, provided by Anthony Goodyear and his staff. And they've done a wonderful job hosting the Cars Tour for the second time around now in September of 2023 after their mid-April date 1 year ago. Jacqueline Drake has made her way down for a post-race interview, so we'll send it down to Jacqueline, who is with Aiden McConaughey.
Aaron Lightning McConaughey taking home another win here at New River All-American Speedway. Your 3rd win so far this season, and what a dominance that was. Flag to flag, you were able to get over a 2-second lead at one point over your other competitors. What exactly did that 71 have that no one else did?
I mean, really, it just had Willie Ridenour, 360 Motorsports. It had their setup in it. You know, they bust their tails all the time to bring us the fastest car they can. We've been having a lot of issues all week, been battling the car since Thursday. We couldn't even make a lap on Thursday. The rear end broke so often. But, you know, we got it fixed. Everyone busted their tails, qualified well, and just, you know, had a clean start, got out front, and just made sure it was a priority to stay out front. So I can't thank Will, again, and everyone for the effort enough. Really happy with the other guys on the team. Of course, we swept the top 5 in qualifying. I don't know about the race, but it's a podium sweep, so that's good. Just really happy with all the effort. Can't thank my family and my supporters at LSU Motorsports enough, and yeah, just really happy.
Not able to make a lap on Thursday and in victory lane on Saturday. Aiden McConaughey taking it home tonight, the number 71 in the Legends feature event.
McConaughey, your race winner. Tyler Gonzalez and Aaron Linsky just pulled in onto the front stretch in second and third. So we'll take a few moments and have the opportunity to get it sorted. And just like magic, Jacqueline has made her way to Tyler Gonzalez's machine.
Orlando, Florida native, Mr. Tyler Gonzalez in that number 91. You're going to bring it home on podium in second place. What was your thoughts about how the handling was on your car tonight?
I just want to thank 316 Motorsports. They gave me a great car. I'm super happy for the team. You know, we secured the top 3. Congrats to Aiden. Congrats to Willie. I just want to thank those guys for giving me a great car, and I'm just glad we could come put on a show.
In terms of your teammates and Aiden taking home the win, how closely do you guys collaborate when it comes to coming to a place like this?
I mean, you obviously got to work together with some aspects, but in the end, it's a race. He beat me fair and square. You know, no team games played there, so congrats to him and congrats to the rest of the team.
Great work by you tonight. Tyler Gonzalez in the 91 taking it home in second place.
So Gonzalez second. That leaves one more driver for us to talk to, and that will be Aaron Linsky. For that third place interview, we will return back to Jacqueline Drake.
Bringing it home in third place, the number 2B of Aaron Linsky. Also another 360 driver, like they said, rounding it out here on the podium. Aaron, how was your car this evening?
Oh, it felt amazing. I mean, the entire race, it felt great. It was smooth, and that fight with my teammate Levi was amazing. So I'm really only my fourth time in a race car, so I'm pretty new to this whole racing thing. But I'm really happy to get a podium. So, yep.
Only your fourth time, and here on the podium, bringing it home in third place, the 2B of Aaron Linsky.
Aaron Linsky, an impressive run to come home in third with that little experience suggests to me that there's more on the horizon for the driver of the 2B. It's been a fabulous night here for all of us at Flow Racing to cover this Carolina 125 presented by Milam Equipment Rentals for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour late model stock cars. A wonderful evening of racing. Brendan Queen gets his second victory of the season in Cars Tour competition, and a lot of great races, a lot of great winners across the local programs as well. We'll be off for a few weeks, but we've got plenty of action coming your way in October for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour. Our next event will be on October 7th. That Saturday, we head to South Boston Speedway in South Boston, Virginia, where we begin the title stretch proper. The late models and the pro late models will both be in competition, and it'll be that way for the rest of the season at South Boston and then at Tri-County and Caraway to close out things in 2023. But October 7th is our next race. You can get more information on how to get tickets at carsracingtour.com. Follow along the Cars Tour on social media. And if you can't be at the track, or if you want to watch live or on demand, you can always log into flowracing.com and catch all of the action of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour there as well. For everyone on our production crew and for my partner in the booth, Jacqueline Drake, I am James Pike. Thank you so much for watching Flow Racing's coverage of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, and we look forward to seeing you on October 7th at South Boston Speedway.